It's the first of two West Coast swings this year, and if Daytona and Homestead are any indicators, tonight's race here in Phoenix will be frantic. This is round 3 of the Rolex Sports Car Series. Phoenix International Raceway here in Arizona. The cars roll, and this is how they line up. As Calvin mentioned, it's 3 straight for Team Ganassi. This time, though, Mad Max Pappas put it on pole. That Lexus Riley combination, great. First time, too, we see a Ganassi all front row. Luis Diaz did a tremendous job in qualifying. So too did Oswaldo Negri, putting that car third for Michael Shank Racing. There's some fast cars further back in the Daytona prototype field. Coming from 12th is the championship defending car, the Pontiac Doran of Barber and Borchella. Look a little further back as well. Freddie Leinhardt joins Didier Tage in that very fast Lexus Doran. They start from 14. There was a hiccup for Donahue and Law in their Brumos Porsche powered fab car. We'll talk more about that when we get into the race. The GT pole sitting car, Bill Auberlen and Boris said that's 2 from 2 for those guys the last 2 rounds. And the SGS pole sitting car was the winner from the previous round in Homestead, Stanton and Murray. We roll through the Lexus starting grid, showing you this full field. Was 40, we just lost 1 car just as we came to air, the number 8 BMW powered Piccio. It's a 3-class format. We've told you about the Daytona prototypes. Let's get an update on GT. Here's Brian Till.
Lee, you know, Grand Am officials have done a great job of creating parity amongst the manufacturers all throughout the field, but probably no more so apparent than in the GT class, where we have a BMW M3 starting on the pole, Porsche GT3 RS starting second with NASCAR regular Kyle Petty in that car, and then the Maserati GT Light starting third. A much improved Maserati. Grand Am officials have let them lower the engine and move it back about 6 inches in the chassis, thereby improving the handling substantially on that car, and that's why we see it there. That's what makes this Grand Am racing so great. Let's check in SGS with Chris Neville.
Well, the word in the SGS paddock this weekend is irritated. These teams are irritated at the driving style they saw at Homestead from the Daytona prototypes. Many of the Porsche teams experienced contact as they were entering corners in the rear of the car from prototypes that were dive bombing them. Now, the problem with the Porsche is they have a very small amount of clearance between the bodywork and the rear wheel. So any contact in that part of the car results in the bodywork folding into the tire and a puncture. So therefore, Grand Am has said that they have addressed these issues. They will be watching it closely tonight. And the main thing is, no more contact. Passes must be clean or there will be repercussions.
All of us at Speed would like to wish everyone a happy Easter and put out a special thanks to all of our troops worldwide.
Absolutely. A special weekend, and this should be a special race. Last year here, there was only 4 Daytona prototypes, and it was chaos. So with 18 on track, look out. We have 8 cars carrying our onboard cameras. There's the lineup for you. The blue indicating the Daytona prototypes, the green indicating the SGS cars, and the yellow, a GT car, the Racers Group Porsche. We are coming to green. This is a 250-mile event around this very short, tight, compact Phoenix International Raceway. 2 different winners from the first 2 races. Will we make it 3? Let's do it in Phoenix. It's a Ganassi front row, and that's the way they take turn 1.
Cold tires, boys, be careful. There's 2 wheels in the grass on the outside already.
Chris Hall ran wide there in the Silverstone Racing. Crawford, but hangs onto it okay. It's the 01 and the 02 as Max Pappas leads Luis Diaz. Bit of a scrap back there between Shane Lewis and Chris Hall, but they all go okay.
Look here, we have a Porsche cut in the forest. He will probably get a penalty for that because he's made up substantial ground taking that shortcut there.
One of the TPC Porsches, and it looks like, whoa, we've lost Forrest Barber. He's off the circuit now, back on again. Forrest had a hiccup at Homestead also on lap 1. Let's have a look at the replay and find out as there's an overtaking move there. As Court Wagner slips up the inside of Luis Diaz, slots the RX.com Doran into 2nd spot.
Good job taking that pass coming out of the hairpin, no question about that. Very slippery right now. We'll take a replay, take a look at what happened to Forrest Barber.
Not what they needed, that's for sure.
Second time in a row, he's already spun it around in the entrance to turn 2. Very lucky man, nobody collects him right there, sitting right in the middle of the track.
So lucky that he was able to get going again and wasn't contacted heavier. So it's Pappas who leads the way from Wagner, Luis Diaz, then it's Oswaldo Negri, followed by Wayne Taylor. That's the top 5 at the moment. Pontiac powered Riley there, hassling the Lexus Doran.
Now, if you're in a GT car, an SGS car, and you're in the back for some reason, you've got to step on the gas because these guys in the Daytona prototypes are coming fast. Max Pappas will be lapping these cars in about 4 laps. It won't take long.
black and yellow car, those very familiar coloring now. The SunTrust Pontiac Riley Taylor, top 5, following Negri. Working way forward, Diaz in a very strong third spot at the moment. And Wagner chasing our race leader, Max Pappas. Calvin.
Down here with Jim Bell. Jim, the last thing you needed was a spin on the first lap. Trying to keep that car on the lead lap. What's your strategy now?
Well, obviously, we'll just have to hang in and try to come back. We got tagged on the front. We got hit on the left rear, actually. I think it was France that hit us and spun us around. So now it's going to be a long, hard pull.
Long night ahead of these guys, but they did it in Homestead, battling back to a top 6 finish, remember?
They did indeed, but that places the workload, an increased workload on Terry Porcella's shoulders, doesn't it? 39 is in the pits and now exits again. That's Chris Hall in the Silverstone Racing Crawford. And look at this group now. Luis Diaz, Oswaldo Negri dives for the inside in the Michael Shank Lexus. Can't quite do it, and Taylor will switch back.
Wayne Taylor goes to the inside. He's got that Pontiac wound up. It's got a lot of torque. We're bumping. They're already bumping coming up the straightaway.
Negri took to the defensive line, and Taylor tried to jam it on the inside and didn't go.
Well, that's just awfully aggressive. That's what we're going to see all night. And they're not even in that traffic yet.
Wait until they do approach that lap traffic, then things are going to get frantic. Tremendous result for the car we're looking ahead at. The number 6 Michael Shank Racing car with Negri and Frizzell in their first race in that car, finishing on the podium at Homestead. It was a terrific result. Calvin.
We saw Chris Hall be very aggressive there on the start lane. In fact, he was too aggressive. He jumped the start, and that was the reason for the drive-through in pit lane.
That answers that. We get back to this fight, though, in the top 5. Brian.
Guys, I talked to Michael Shank about the 6 car this morning. He said they found something in the warm-up. I said, what was it? He said, I can't really tell you. It's just a balance issue, but look out in the race. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing, Lee.
Well, Oswaldo Negri really aggressive here at the start, really making up some ground quickly. There's a lot of different chassis and engine configurations, and we're going to see those played in as this race unfolds. Particularly these Pontiacs, like we saw Wayne Taylor. They just have a lot of torque. They don't have a lot of top end per se, but when they get in traffic, you watch Wayne, I think he's going to start moving forward.
It's Pappas, who enjoys around a 4-second lead at the moment over Court Wagner. And let's talk briefly about that G&W Motorsports BMW powered car, because Wagner and Kelly Collins did an outstanding job at Homestead and very nearly won that race. We go on board now with our race leader, Max Pappas. Let's have a listen. And we look at the 16, the Arsco Motorsports Porsche. They also jumped the start and were forced to take that drive-through penalty costly.
They've had a lot of penalties this year so far as they're running this new type of race.
Max Pappas approaching lap traffic. Max needs to make up for his, well, pretty wild behavior at Homestead, and he's doing a good job of it right now. He will hand over to regular teammate Scott Pruitt when it's time to perform those pit stops later on. But he's off to a good start, so are we. Stick around. So much more to come from Phoenix. Back live at Phoenix. This is round 3 of the Rolex Sports Car Series, and you're right. From that high-pitched shrill of the Porsche-powered Red Bull Brumos Fab car, Darren Moore has done an outstanding job in the opening few laps here to come from 15th on the grid to force his way up to 7th.
Yeah, he's got it really going really well. They had some penalties early on instead of toward the back. A good qualifying effort, though, before the penalty for downloading information that you're not supposed to download after qualifying. Take a look at how he's come through traffic here. You talk about aggressive. Look at all these little cars right up to the middle. Oh, that's taking a lot of risk right there, Lee.
Darren splits the SGS cars a year ago here. He was in the BMW-powered Pitio. Darren drove incredibly well. He's a local lad, comes from Phoenix, and feels right at home on this track. So he's doing a very nice job in that car. They were dreadfully disappointed to be nailed after qualifying and sent to the rear of the Daytona prototype field. But now Darren is making up for that.
Look at Darren there, concentrating. You see the kickback on the steering wheel. This infield doesn't have very much grip at all, so you do a lot of sliding around here. Look at this little bit of padding he's got on the steering wheel, right underneath where he's holding the steering wheel. He's got a little bit of extra support and padding there for his fingers.
Darren Law to our class-leading car in GT, and yes, it is the pole-sitting car, the PTG BMW. Bill Orville and Boris said, incredible combination, two very talented drivers, two drivers that will be hard to stop in this year's GT Championship. Of course, Orville won that GT class 2 years ago with Paul Wagner, and that car's off to a strong start incidentally on GT. Barbosa has leapfrogged Gunnar Jeanette, and that Maserati is up into second, Brian.
Well, those BMWs are strong, Lee, but I'll tell you what, they're also thirsty too. It takes fuel to go that fast. I just checked in with the team. They'll have to make what they said was at least 2 stops. It may even be 3. If it stays green for a long time without the yellows, they will suck up a lot of fuel. And the Porsches, they get good mileage, so it could end up being a fuel mileage run for these guys, Lee.
We'll keep a close eye on GT tonight. Last year, the race was decided on the very last lap with 3 corners to go. Mike Fitzgerald and Brent Martini. It was thrilling stuff. So we'll keep an eye on those guys as well as our SGS class that are duking it out at the back of this field. And look at that traffic.
Bill Oberlin just passes the Daytona prototype. I talked to Boris the other day. He said this BMW is on rails. He said it's really good. Look in the corners. Oberlin to the outside. Just going around people like they're not even out there.
On board the Speed Secrets Ford Multimatic, Joe Krasowski and his son Justin sharing that ride. And there is the Speed Source Multimatic right behind those guys in the 70 with Selby Wellman behind the wheel. It's tight out there.
Oh, it's really tight. It's not even close to getting slippery yet because the sun still has some sun. The sky is going to drop down and get cooler here, and then we're going to see cars sliding all over.
Incidentally, while we were away, Paul Wagner was forced to do a drive-through penalty, allegedly jumping the start as well. That immediately took him out of that strong second place. So we're back to a Ganassi 1-2 at the front of this field. Wayne Taylor has got past Ozzie Negri, so he's up to 3. And we hear a report from the track. There's smoke coming from the 10. That is Wayne Taylor's car. We ride with the SunTrust Pontiac now.
This will be a shame because Wayne Taylor's car with Max Angelelli was quickest in several sections early on. Certainly somebody I said to watch this weekend. They don't need trouble this early, that's for sure.
Cal, do you know more about this?
I'm unsure of the problem, Lee, but I know they've been very aggressive this evening in their tyre choice. A lot of the prototypes out there have gone for a split Goodyear combination with the harder 480s on the right, 37s on the left. But well, let's get back to a crash up top, boys.
Yeah, big crash there. Look at that, the front end of that Multimatic. It brings out our first full course caution. It's the Mears Motor Coach Ford Multimatic, a combination of Paul Mears Jr. and Mike Borkowski.
That is Paul Mears Jr. in the car right now. He's contacted the wall pretty hard. I don't think they'll be able to get the car fixed. It's towed in on both the front corners. Got the safety crew over there.
So a tough break. They had clutch issues right at the beginning of this race as well. So their night not going very well for one of our many local drivers here, Mike Borkowski, who's yet to get in that car. Car owner Paul Mears behind the wheel. Let's hope he's okay. Mad Max is all right. He's at the front end of this field. Things are going beautifully for the 2 Lexus Rileys up front. You ride with the Monster Cable Racers Group Porsche, the 66 of Ian James, Chris Gleason and RJ Valentine. RJ made the most of that early caution, jumped out, popped British driver Ian James behind the wheel. These guys have had a nice start to the 2004 Rolex Sports Car Series. Speaking of GT, let's hear from one of the drivers now with Brian.
Lee, the thing we've been talking about all race long, I say all race long, we're only about 15 laps into this thing, is traffic. And Justin, you're standing in here now, and I think it's traffic that put you here.
Yeah, it's just really a shame. I mean, at the beginning of the race, it was just mayhem down the start, just people hitting each other everywhere. We had a really great race car. We fell into line. We were running second. I was able to start pulling away and gapping the GT cars. And then I guess we were lapping the 44, I think it was, and following one of the DPs. Just guys went underneath him, and the 44 didn't see him there, and they just went right in front of me, and there was nowhere I could go. I mean, it's just kind of one of those deals. There's nothing I could do, and I just hate it for these guys. I mean, they've worked so hard this whole weekend, and you know, me and Joey have both been doing a good job this weekend, and you know, BMW with all the support behind us and everything. It's just a shame to end the race like this just so early, because I think we really had something for them today. But we got another race coming up, and we'll just have to get them there.
Well, the only power they got now is 3 guys pushing the car down pit lane, Lee.
Yeah, frustrating stuff for those guys. There is 54, the Kodak Easy Share Pontiac Doran out. Forrest Barber has stepped from the car and the reigning champion is in. Borchella, you see the pace car come back to pit road and we're set to go back to racing. First caution finish, let's go. Mad Max Pappas leads this field. Luis Diaz has Wayne Taylor in that yellow and black Pontiac, Riley all over him, and Oswaldo Negri keeping a close eye on Stefan Gregoire.
And Terry Borchella better put his gas down right now because these lead cars are not that far behind and coming strong.
And that 54 was already a lap down, and now pushing extra hard as they approach down in the turn 5-6 area. Terry Borchella is on the back straight heading towards NASCAR 3 and 4, so there's not too much of a margin, but we know how quick Terry can push this car around any racetrack in the United States. You're looking at Darren Law, you ride with Darren Law, chasing Stefan Gregoire in the spirit of Daytona Crawford.
And a traffic jam around here at Phoenix is one thing, but I gotta tell you what, as this race goes on, getting offline to make a pass on a slower car sometimes can be a problem because of all the debris that gets on the high side of the racetrack. So we're gonna have to really watch these guys sliding off and getting in trouble making these passes.
One of the new chassis constructors to come into the series this year, Riley Technologies, and just look how well they're going. They fill the top 3 positions at the moment. The only difference between the top 3 is the third place car is a Pontiac powered car. That is in the hands of Wayne Taylor, and the very exciting Max Angelelli will take over from him a little later.
And I feel really strongly about that 10 car in traffic. As things get bottlenecked up, I think that is going to be the fastest car on the racetrack when things get slowed down. That number 10, a lot of grip, and with that Pontiac power, it's got a lot of torque. Watch right here. He's thinking he's going up the inside.
Big move, and Luis Diaz gives him plenty of room. Didn't argue over that one at all. Sensible driving from the young Mexican. You'll remember him from Homestead. He led the race. He passed his teammate Max Pappas, and on a restart just got a little too excited and overcooked it in turn 1, ran off the track and threw away what could have been a victory. He felt terrible about it. He said, I'll never do that again, and I've learned a very valuable lesson. So now it's Ganassi, the SunTrust car, and the second Comp USA Ganassi Lexus Riley.
And all Rileys, as a matter of fact. The difference between these cars is the engine package. Of course, the Lexus motor runs a lot of RPM at 8,000 RPM, whereas the Pontiac has low RPM, 5,700 revs, but it's got a lot more torque, and it means it comes off the corner stronger. On the top end, however, give it to the Lexus.
You mentioned that Terry Borchella had taken over from Forrest Barber. Here's Terry now in the Kodak Easy Share car. Overall wise, he is well down the order in 34th and trying desperately to catch up. Kelvin has his co-drivers.
Forrest, the strategy going in was to keep you on that lead lap, but 2 bumps on the opening lap. Can you believe the intensity with the competition out there now?
Well, there's so many cars on the track at one time, and I thought I made it clean through there, but somebody bumped me in the left rear, and it's got clipped as I spun around, so it didn't get any worse. Maybe Terry could make it up, but boy, it is intense competition.
Terry had to come in and change that left rear. Is the car okay now? He's got a fresh wheel on there?
I think it's okay. The car felt all right to me, but apparently it was pulling the left, so I think he's fine. He's going to have to make up a lot of ground, though.
He's done it before. Can he do it again? We will follow the progress of the 54. Terry Borchella begins what will be a grueling night's racing here in Phoenix. Let's ride on board with Forrest Barber during that spin. Here's a replay.
Well, it's already happened. He's got hit from behind. That's right there entering 2. Look at this. Oh, I hate to see that. It's not what you want to look at.
You've obviously been in that position.
Yeah, that's not good. Kind of wave at all your friends and say, please don't run into me, please. I didn't mean it.
So 20 laps down already, and Max Pappas has led every single one of them. We rejoin this fight between the Porsche-powered Fab car and up ahead, that Pontiac-powered Crawford. Great to see the spirit of Daytona car, the orange Daytona prototype there, the combination of Doug Goad and Stefan Gregoire. Gregoire, the former IRL driver, behind the wheel. Troy Bliss and the entire team have worked so hard this year, but have been bit by some bad luck in the first 2 rounds. Now it's great great to see things rolling for them.
You know, you and I were talking to Stefan Gregoire. He says, I'm really starting to like these cars with the hard top. You know, he didn't think he would at first. Had some trouble not being able to see the tires and whatnot, but he's getting the feel for it right now. The bugs they had with the car overheating and so forth, he said they were trying to lighten it up because it's a bit heavy. They just went too far overboard. Now they got back to the middle. He thinks it's very competitive now.
This twosome is about to become a threesome because right behind this car is the RX.com BMW powered Doran. There it is, from Fort Wagner.
That BMW power plant also has a lot of torque. It can be also a factor when things get slippery and really congested later tonight.
Watch Darren Law, he's setting up for a move down into turn one, not close enough.
That
He's
was
going to be looking
having
back.
none of that, was he? No, that's not good enough yet.
Into turn two, and this battle intensifies. This is the fight for a top 5 position. The orange Crawford Daytona prototype holds that 5th place. But Darren Law is becoming impatient. He knows that he's got Fort Wagner right on the back of him, and that RX.com Doran will not stick around. Wagner will become impatient, and look right behind is the legend, Elliott Forbes Robinson, pushing hard in that Howard Boss Motorsports Crawford. The highest placed Howard Boss car, Milka Duno, running 1 position behind in 9th. We need to squeeze in a quick break from Phoenix, but when we return, we will rejoin this battle and plenty more as Darren Law really turns the screws into Stefan Gregoire. There's your class leaderboard, the top 5 in each of our 3. Back in Phoenix, we take a look at our SGS Super Grand Sport class leading car. There it is, the 91 Colt Porsche, combination of Jean-Francois Dumoulin and Robert Julian. This is the 66 on board with Ian James. That's a GT car right up ahead.
Oh, getting past right there. Coach Wayne Taylor knifing through. He's taking the lead. We have a new leader now. And I said, as things get slippery and nasty, watch this 10. I think it's the right combination for this racetrack. I really do.
Wayne Taylor has put his team in a great position. You're right on board now with Taylor as he whips by Ian James.
The last lap I saw oil up here in this corner. Watch up here. See if we can see it. Look for a sheen on the racetrack. It's right there, offline to the right a little bit. These guys have already seen it.
Pappas in pursuit of Wayne Taylor. I can update you on that battle. When we went to the break, Darren Law was hassling. We're under a full course caution for the 2nd time. We'll find out why in a moment, but Darren Law did get past Stefan Gregoire, and so too did Fort Wagner. So they've moved up into 5th and 6th respectively. So it's Taylor, Pappas, Diaz, Negri, Darren Law, Fort Wagner, Stefan Gregoire, Forbes, Robinson, Duno, and Lewis, the top 10. Cal, what do you have?
Well, big bronze rod Daytona winners in the GT category. The 44 Orbit machine, Jay Policastro behind the wheel. Major damage to the left front corner. Bodywork torn up, but more importantly, look at that suspension component. Completely torn off. This is going to be a lot of work for Roger Hurley and the boys.
Well, we're looking at that right there. I don't know, Calvin, that radiator in that front duct there, is that leaking anything? Because I saw moisture in the hairpin in turn 9. Can you tell if there's a leak?
I don't see anything coming out of this car right now, Dorsey. It looks pretty dry underneath, so he must have hit someone else's oil or fluid on the track, but it's done major damage to the bottom suspension component on this left corner. So this is not going to be quick fix here.
And you saw the reason why. We are under a full course yellow. There's debris on the racetrack. Some body work over on the back part of this 1.5 mile track. Safety crews will head out there, pick it up, clean the track up. We'll go back to racing when we return. Stick around. You're watching round 3 of the Rolex Sports Car Series. Certainly one of the most scenic racetracks in the world here at Phoenix International. Here in the desert in Arizona, the sun is setting and light's starting to take effect on this 1.5 mile roval, part oval, part road course. And boy, is it challenging. Not as much contact as we expected so far, but a long way to go. When we go back to racing, Max Pappas leads this field down the front straight once again.
Every one of these restarts a potential disaster as they get into turn 1. 3 and 4 wide there. Max Pappas a great jump. He's free, he's clear.
You may have noticed in the center of the screen, Craig Stanton was quick to pounce as well. He got past Bobby Julian, so there's been a change in the lead in the SGS class as well.
And Craig Stanton coming from the back more or less again because he got a jump start penalty, had to go in for a stop and go. Those guys come from the back and come to the front all the time. They're fantastic. Him and David Murray. Look at how tight it is.
That was on board with the Prskowski car, Speed Secrets Multimatic. Now we ride with Wayne Taylor, right up behind Darren Law in the 58 Brumos.
These Daytona prototypes make downforce, so they got a little bit of grip on these other cars as they're racing around. The GT, the STS cars, they don't have any grip. They're slipping and sliding, so you got to give them some room.
We had an update while we were away that in fact it wasn't oil that was down on the track, it was antifreeze from the 42 Morrison Marketing Planet Earth Motorsports Porsche.
That's worse. There's nothing. Oh, 3 wide up on the banking.
You ride with Terry Borchella desperately trying to make up ground as he forces the issue. He's come from 34th overall to 19th, but is still obviously not on the lead lap and continues to try and make up for lost ground.
There's nothing slipperier than antifreeze. It doesn't go away. It stays with you forever. It's horrible. Look how tight. This is turn 2. He might get a bump there. Almost did.
One car running wide. That looked like the Doncaster Porsche 71, the SGS car.
Oh, he's taking barrel.
Major contact with the tire barrier.
This is a big wreck up here, I would expect. Everybody dodging it quite well. It's not over with. I can't imagine.
Oh, it's Milka Duno.
Milka.
The Homestead race winning car.
Oh.
And that brings out our third full yellow, full course caution. And just how badly damaged is that car?
It'll be damaged, believe me. That's really fast part of the racetrack over there. You get very close to that tire wall. You nip it. You get right next to it. She got right onto it.
We'd only just resumed green flag racing. Let's revisit this incident with Milka Duno and Simcoe Crawford.
Oh, it's right there. You saw it. She just nailed the apex. Just absolutely drilled that tire wall. I don't know if she got into contact with the Porsche that was there. There looks like some white paint on the side right there. I mean, they might have got together. We saw it kind of after the fact. That's very quick. It's flat out in one of those cars right there in 4th gear.
Calvin, what do you have?
Actually, I'm at the other end, Lee. You'll have to get back to me.
Milka's going toward the pits. Unbelievable. This Crawford took a wallop, and it looks like it's still in alignment. It looks like it's just knocked the nose off. It's unbelievable.
Well, Max Crawford and the guys will assess this car. They'll make the necessary fixes to it. And no doubt Andy Wallace will jump on board this number 2 Sitco Crawford. Chris Neville down on pit lane. What's happening, Chris?
Yeah, Court Wagner just brought the 81 into pit lane. It was just fuel and tires. It was a little bit of slow stop because they had a problem with the lug out button on the left front tire. But with the caution, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Those guys have fresh rubber and a full tank.
As Milka Duno brings this Crawford Daytona prototype to pit lane to assess the situation. This car has been the focal point in this championship many times this year, Cal.
Absolutely, the winner's at Homestead, and there's a lot of bodywork damage, but the wheel actually looks pretty straight. So Andy Wallace stands in pit lane with his arms in the air. He doesn't understand why Milka's not jumping out. You expect him to do a driver change under this situation anyway. So they're trying to get this nose changed, but the suspension looks pretty good. They're going to get the nose changed, and now they go to a driver change. Milka is going to jump out. It's going to be Andy Wallace, of course, replacing her behind the wheel. And the team must feel pretty confident because they've done no other suspension repair to that left front corner. Just changed the wheel and tire, and now they're going to go to the right front, and then the nose will be on, Lee.
Well, that car took a wallop, a big hit, but it doesn't look bent. That's amazing to me, but I don't see any damage to that corner.
There's one thing that we've learned over the past year and a half about Daytona prototypes is just how robust they really are.
Yeah, they've been tried and true, tested.
The Brumos 59 is in, the combination of Hurley Haywood, JC France. Chris.
Yeah, JC France just topped out of the car. Hurley is getting in. This team really struggled most of the weekend with both the 58 and the 59. However, they made some changes last night. They're pretty happy with the setup. So, well, we're seeing Darren Law run to the front. Hopefully we can see the same with Hurley.
They are the defending Phoenix winners. It was a very glorious time for them here last year, 12 months ago. They celebrated and celebrated in style. Let's see what the famous 59 can come up with tonight as we climb on board. Our race-leading car, Max Pappas, Luis Diaz, the 2 Ganassi boys, all going very nicely for them at the moment. You rejoin us live here at Phoenix International Raceway for the Rolex Sports Car Series. It's been a very eventful start to this event. As we expected, we're under our third full course caution. And if you've just joined us, we're going to bring you up to date the latest incident involving the race-winning car from Homestead, our most recent round. Milcadino, the Venezuelan, crashed heavily as we ride with Darren Law. That's what it was like coming through the crash zone if you were Darren Law.
Watch here, watch the inside up by the tire wall, right there. I think that Porsche might have got into the side of Milka and turned her right directly into the tire wall, which is the apex wall. I don't know that they hit, but I suspect they did on the right side of her car.
On board with Terry Borcella. Those onboard shots, very graphic, just showing you how hectic it is out there. Well, let's hear from the driver herself. Milka is with Calvin.
Milka, obviously a scary moment there for you, heavy hit into the tires. What caused the incident?
No, I hit the tire because one Porsche hit me and I hit the tires. He don't see the line and he closed, he don't see that another car was coming.
We knew traffic was going to be a big problem tonight. How awful was it for you out there during that first stint?
Yes, it's very difficult with traffic, but I see some drivers need to take look when some fast car is coming.
Well, unfortunately, there is some damage to that left front corner of the car, and the team goes to work. Let's go down to Chris Neville.
Calvin, I'm down here with the 58. Darren Law is in pit lane. He's got a broken drive shaft. These guys are going to try and change it. Now, we have heard everybody saying that there may have been some contact between those two cars. However, I've looked this car over thoroughly, and there is not a print on it. So I don't know exactly what happened. We can't see it down here, but this car looks clean.
Well, one of the things about this Phoenix racetrack, because of the lack of grip, you're always going through spinning up the tires and then catching. In these curves, when you hit the curves, you spin the tire in the air, it comes down, it slams, it grips. Half shafts and axles break here all the time. We've seen it for the last couple of days.
So the Brumos boys forced to work hard yet again after an incredibly positive run from Darren Law in the Red Bull Brumos car. We come to the green again. Oh, look at this, Shane Lewis, great run up the inside. He was quick to get going, and Shane currently sits in fourth as he pounced on Elliott Forbes Robinson, slipped through the inside and gained a position. Great thinking right at the restart. But it's Mad Max Pappas who leads this field in the CompUSA Riley from Luis Diaz, Ozzie Negri, then it's Shane Lewis, EFR, Elliott Forbes Robinson, and then Didier Taze.
Well, Shane Lewis did a great job. He almost got into the Asco Porsche, who didn't know he was coming. He had a wonderful jump on that right there, and he timed it perfectly. No penalty because he didn't jump the start. They went green, he just pulled the trigger and was gone.
That's the easy way to do it. If you can pounce when everybody else is not ready. And there it is, that Southern Motorsports BMW-powered fab car. He and EFR are still going at it. Forbes Robinson has come back on Shane Lewis. Now Lewis comes back on him. Tremendous battle.
Now, one of the things Shane Lewis wants to do is he wants to talk to us under green now. It's under green. He's coming on the front straight. Well, let's check it out. Shane Lewis, Dorsey Schrader in the speed booth. You got me, bud? Shane Lewis, Dorsey in the speed booth. You look like you're under pressure from Elliott. You hear me?
We're rocking and rolling out here, buddy. Just rocking and rolling.
Looks good, man. You got a handful of my old teammate there. I'll let you get down to work. We got a full course caution coming out. You'll get a break. I'll get to talk to you here in a minute.
Again on these starts. Like, we got a full course. Anybody knows there's a full course? 10-4. Another full course yellow, Shane. Another full course yellow.
And it involves the Maserati of Washington 33, the Maserati Trofeo Light, and Joao Barbosa had done a wonderful job in this car, but now heavy damage on the right side of that car.
Might not be too bad, really. I mean, it's a lot of cosmetic damage, no question about that. He's going relatively slow, but I don't see any smoke. Tire rub. No, it looks like maybe the right rear is towed out. Also, here we have the 70. And that is, I suspect those two have gotten together quite hard.
That's Selby Wellman. Cal, what do you see down there in the 33 pit?
Well, I see a lot of damage, unfortunately. This car's really come on gangbusters since Homestead. Joao Barbosa done a lot of testing with the car. Major damage to the right front corner, but the right rear, probably the bigger issue right now is mainly bodywork on the front, but suspension damage in the rear. And this is a really disappointing run for this team because they've really come a long way. We saw at Daytona really struggling, and the testing, moving the engine back, equalizing the weight distribution of the car a little bit has really paid dividends on this tight and twisty track, and it's all about handling through the infield, and this car's been working very well.
There's Glenn Marquis, the man who runs this team, giving directions, and the team go to work. There you can see the damage for yourself. We'll skip away, we'll take a quick break, but when we return, hopefully we'll string some laps together and go racing here in Phoenix. Sights, sounds and stars of the Rolex Sports Car Series as we return live and exclusive here. Speed Channel's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series from Phoenix International Raceway. A very, very eventful start to this event already. 4 full course cautions in just over 40 laps. There's been plenty happening out on track. And this most recent caution due to an incident between the Maserati of Washington car and the Workscape Daytona prototype with Selby Wellman at the wheel. Well, let's hear from Joao Barbosa, who was driving that car.
Joao, it's been a great weekend for you, qualifying third, made a lot of progress with this machine. What happened in that incident out there tonight?
Yeah, until right now the car was running so good. With the second set of tires, the car was just very, very good, and I could really push. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to do it. The prototype just came into the hairpin sideways, and I don't know what he was trying to do, but when he was stopped, because he had spun, it just accelerated and he hit me on the right side. So I don't know what he was thinking about. I think he should have stopped and wait for everybody to go by, but that's racing, sometimes happens. I have to take my hat off to this crew because the car was awesome. They did an excellent job preparing the car. The car is being very competitive, so thanks to the guys.
Well, certainly disappointing for this team, but let's get the other side of the story with Chris.
Well, Calvin, I'm down with the number 10 SunTrust. Wayne Taylor just handed over the driving duties to Max Angelelli. Wayne, you got out of the car and you're very excited. What's going on out there? Why are we seeing so many cautions so early on?
I don't know. It's like a stock car race. I mean, it's madness out there. You know, there's just so many cars in such a short track. You know, with the GT cars, and the speed differential between us and them is dramatic. Although they can brake almost as late as us, and some of the cars have good cornering speed. So it makes us in the prototypes have to dig deeper to really get in front of them. And I think with these cautions, what's happened is there's so many different cars on the track, and everybody's going for the same hole. But other than that, it's been great fun. You know, having not driven for about 18 months, I'm just starting to remember what it's like, and it's really a lot of fun. And the guys done a really good job.
You guys decided to come in for an early pit stop. You lost a lot of track position. Was that a good decision?
Well, it's always hard to give up the lead. You know, once I got into the lead, you always want to maintain that, but you got to think at the end of the race. And I think these guys, you know, we make a conscious decision that the management here makes that decision, that call. And I think in the end, it's probably the right call. I mean, it's disappointing to have gone from first backwards, but I think the strategy's right.
The tires you guys are running right now, you're running 3 softs and then you're running a hard compound up on that right front. How does that affect the car under braking?
Actually, this particular car is so good under braking, I think it probably outbrakes just about anything on the track. We've had no problem. I mean, the biggest problem throughout the weekend in the race is a little bit of understeer. But at the end of my stint, the tires were just as good.
Brian Till?
Down here with Bobby Julian. Bobby, you guys were leading in class for a while. Is it as crazy as it sounds out there?
It's really crazy out there, as you can see from all the yellows. I mean, I ended up coming in early because I got hit at the second to last yellow really hard in corner 4. The car that hit me went into the wall. I don't even know who it was. I don't even know why he was trying to get himself in there. I never, ever saw him until bang. It's absolutely crazy. It's
Car okay?
My car, I came in and checked it. It seems all right, but it's got damage on it.
Dorsey, you said at the beginning of the show, mayhem. That sounds like what's happening.
You got it, buddy.
Traffic, chaos, mayhem. It's all happening here at Phoenix International Raceway. When we return, we'll work our way back to the green flag. It's a familiar sight, the green flag, poised, ready to be waved. The restart, the fourth caution period is over. Let's go back to racing and look at Shane Lewis. He almost does it again. Very quick, very efficient on those restarts. It's the two CompUSA Ganassi cars up front. Then, and it looks like Lewis did get by Oswaldo Negri. He did in the Southern Motorsports car. Great work, Shane Lewis. We ride with him now.
Shane Lewis using the torque of that BMW motor and the fact that he's really good on these restarts.
So it's Pappas, Luis Diaz, Shane Lewis, then Oswaldo Negri Jr. and EFR, Elliott Forbes Robinson, the top five. The field file through. Topic of conversation tonight has been the traffic. Let's hope things settle down somewhat so we can get into a rhythm of some racing. And look at this, Terry Borchella is only 3 cars away from getting back on the lead lap. He has been flying out there in the Kodak Easy Share Pontiac Doran.
Watch him right now, right in front of Shane Lewis in number 7. You see him, they're up on the banking between 3 and 4. Good speed shot, they're whistling players.
And Borchella is on a mission. Right up on Shane Lewis now. If he can get by Lewis, he's only got the two CompUSA Ganassi Lexus Rileys to contend with, and he will be back in business, back on the lead lap, and you just know there's going to be plenty more yellows tonight to help him move up the order.
Right now it's a good time to be aggressive with the Daytona prototype. They're all running together. There's nobody in their way. They can get the job done right now, and that's exactly what Terry Borchella wants to do. He wants to dispatch right now, if he can, of Shane Lewis.
Chris, what do you have?
Well, checked in with these guys down here. They've had a pretty tough week, and they really weren't happy with the setup of the car, but they think they've got something now. And also, Shane is just doing a mind-boggling drive through this traffic. He is just attacking all over the place. That's all he's really got to do, so he's just trying to run it up to the front.
Chris talking about the number 7 Southern Motorsports BMW Fab car. We ride on board with the PAP parts car.
Borchella got by cleanly back there, so that is now a pass for position. But he's trying to get that lap back, and he's trying to move to the front.
Oswaldo Negri, big hit, and he sent Shane Lewis straight down into NASCAR 1 and 2.
Now, Shane's forced out there. You listen to him on the radio. He's going to come around the back.
All right, let me know how it is. Dude, it's done, man.
He says it's done. He says the suspension's broke. He's going to have to...
How bad is it? Done? It's absolutely done. He just packed me hard. I bring it to pit lane, but this running's got to be hammered. Copy that.
Well, you hear him there. He really drilled me. My front end's hammered. He's got a cut down left front, it looks like, but I don't see that it's that bad. Of course, Shane can feel the pull on the wheel. He can feel if it's knocked the alignment all out. He'll be bringing it to pit lane either way. He's going to go a long way down.
Well, if it's that bad, what's the damage on Oswaldo Negri's Doran?
Exactly. That was a big side-to-side smash, no question about it. Unfortunately, Shane would have had the worst part being on the outside.
Aussie Negri had made his mind up. He was diving for that inside. Now let's have a look at the replay of that. You'll see Oswaldo Negri on the right of your screen, Lewis on the left.
Listen here.
This way around.
Oh, whoa. You heard him hit the rev limiter right before he went in there. Another angle on this. Listen to this and watch this hit. Here we go. Down into one. Bam! Shane, good job of reading that.
Let's get down to the 7 cab. Chris.
Yeah, we're down in the 7 right now. You know, the car really doesn't look that bad. They're getting it up in the air to try and see what's wrong. It's probably some suspension damage underneath the car. Checked in with Oswaldo Negri, Mike Shank on the number 6 car. They said that car is fine, so Oz is standing out on the racetrack. They also said it was just a racing incident, side-to-side contact.
Let's have another look at that replay. Oswaldo Negri on the right, Lewis on the left.
Turn 1 is such a blind kind of entrance. I don't think that he really knew that Oswaldo was down there. I think Shane turned down having no idea whatsoever that the 6 was coming up the inside that hard.
Fast and fierce. That's what this year has been in the Daytona prototype category. It's still Pappas up front in the 01 CompUSA Lexus Riley. His younger teammate, Luis Diaz, the Mexican, still sits second. Then it's Aussie Negri. Then it's EFR, the best of the Howard Boss Crawfords. And Didier Tay sits in the top 5. Calvin.
Well, I just checked in with the Ganassi crew and said, why are you not playing the game that the 10 car is doing in pitting? And they said, we're going to have to do that pretty soon. We're really not in a window where we could do it on one more stop. That's why we've extended our run here on this first stint. But the more that 10 car keeps coming in and topping out, they said, we're going to have to play that game soon. We've got Mitch Davis overseeing the 02 car, currently driven by Diaz. And remember, he is on the hard tires all the way around. So as we get into this cool night air, that's probably going to hurt him a little bit more as we keep getting these restarts, Dorsey.
Yeah, that's a good point, Calvin. A lot of these different cars have gone with all different types of combinations. Some are running soft lefts and hard rights. Some are running 3 hards, or 3 softs and 1 hard. But the car we're talking about is actually running hard all the way around. Now it's cooling off, track temperature dropping, and that's going to start slowing this car up if they don't come in and address that issue.
Here is Luis Diaz. This is the Mexican car. He and Jimmy Morales in the 02 Comp USA car. Speaking with Jimmy earlier this weekend, he said they had tremendous feedback in Mexico. Of course, they watch it on Speed Channel, and a lot of people very, very excited about their run at the recent Homestead race. Here's the battle for 6th between the RX.com Doran and the Pontiac Howard Riley. Angelelli bomb dives the inside. He's tremendous on the brakes and pulls up a position.
Angelelli is demonic in the brake zones, and we heard Wayne Taylor say this car cannot break anything, and we just saw it right there. Brian?
You talk about the pit strategy and coming in and topping off for fuel, and also tires. The 81 car, they've been coming in under these yellows, topping off for fuel, looking for a place where they can come in and make a last stop, change drivers, and go the distance. The other thing that they think that they may be able to do, Dorsey, you talked about it cooling down after dark. They think they may be able to go to 4 soft compound tires once the track temperature and the air temperature cools down enough.
Well, I would agree with that. I don't know about the 4. Definitely you could go with 3 and maybe save the right front as a hard, but maybe 4. It's going to be cool tonight, no question. And they're getting a lot of caution, so not a lot of green flag back-to-back laps.
As we ride with Angelelli, he now puts a move. He's about to put a move on Didier Tays, so he's not holding back, and this is for a top 5 spot. Angelelli goes one way, Tays the other. Look at Mad Max. There's 2 Mad Maxes out there. Angelelli was the big loser in that one. Kurt Wagner gets his position back.
Tried to split the Porsche GT on the outside, and the guy had none of it, and he just ran him out the curve. That's what you got to watch out for around here, getting aggressive. Now, there's a lot of debris out on the racetrack. We already saw a radiator get punctured. We've heard that one of the kill switches on the off side of the race car got hit by a rock. The car got shut off, so there's a lot of debris, and that's where it comes from. The inside going into the dirt.
Angelelli is chasing Wagner. Wagner is chasing Didier Tays. The 2 Dorans together. We ride with the Pontiac Riley, the SunTrust car. And Angelelli, you can see just how fierce he is in the traffic. He just doesn't hold back.
No, he's a demon. You'd hate to have him on your tail, no question about it. You know, you look over your mirror and he's back there. It's like, oh, God, why me?
This RX.com car for G&W Motorsports, Kelly Collins and Kurt Wagner did a tremendous job at Homestead. They're having another strong run now. Here is the replay. Watch to the right of your screen.
Goes to the right of the Porsche, but look, watch this guy right here. He says, no, you don't, man. I'll run you off the road over here. And sure enough, he does, too. That's how tight it is here. He tried for a maneuver, it didn't work. Watch from the onboard. You want to see how tight this is, what it looks like? Look at this. Makes his move to the right. He'll be shaking his fist when he goes by that Porsche, I guarantee you that. Looks to the inside again, though.
He doesn't hold back, does he?
No, he doesn't.
The other. That was 37 John Littlechild in the TPC Porsche. And a lot of the time you can't blame these SGS and GT drivers. They're caught in the middle of it, and it's just it's like a pit of piranhas out there. Chris.
You know, guys, this is the first time Max Angelelli's been to Phoenix, the Phoenix International Raceway, and in the first practice session, he got a couple laps on the racetrack, and the chief engineer on the team, Bill Riley, called him up and said, hey, Max, what do you think about the gearing on the car? And Max said, well, you know what? I'm still trying to figure my way around here. Bill said, well, you know what, Max? Just keep trying to figure your way around here. And by the way, you're the quickest car on the racetrack.
Yeah, and he bomb dives again. Straight down the inside, Angelelli, and he takes 2 in 1. Kurt Wagner and Elliott Forbes Robinson. The SunTrust car goes straight to 4th place.
Awesome stuff. What a job. He dive bombs into the inside, gets by Kurt Wagner, and while he's at it, he goes, EFR, I hope you know I'm here. I'm getting you too. Went on by.
Wayne Taylor, the team principal of the SunTrust racing team, has so much faith and respect for this guy. Meanwhile, we ride with our race leader, Pappas, still leads the way. While the overall battle for race honors and the Daytona prototype lead has been exciting, so too in our other two categories, GT and SGS. Let's update you with the GT class situation and our race leading car for GT right here, right now. For the Prototype Technology Group, it's Bill Aublin and his teammate Boris Said will take over shortly. But Bill has been fighting his way back up through the field and he's got by the 45 Gunnar Racing Porsche. So Gunnar Jeanette gets pushed back to second. Those two have been having an enthralling scrap, but now Aublin's got on top of that situation and he moves out. So they're your top two in GT. Third, incidentally, in GT is the Corvette, the 06 machine of Chuck Hemmingson and Steve Lisa. There is the 45, the combination of Gunnar Jeanette and Kyle Petty, and let's hear from Kyle right now.
Well, Kyle, Gunnar doing a great job in the car right now. What are your Cup buddies going to say about you driving a pink race car?
You know, I'm not sure. It's that pink spandex uniform I've got on under this one that I'm worried about him talking about. But I tell you what, these guys at Team Gunnar have done a tremendous job, and Gunnar's doing an incredible job. I'm probably going to get in for about 3 minutes and put Gunnar back in the car and let him finish.
A lot of fun, even on the holiday weekends. Come take your time and drive these sports cars.
Yeah, it really is. You know, the Grand American division is such a great division with the DP cars and with the GT class and some of the class they've got. They have 40-some cars out here. It's an incredible field. So it's just as competitive as the Nextel Cup in its own little way. So it's pretty cool to come out here, spend some time. I didn't even know they had a road course in the NFL out here until Jim showed it to me on paper. So it's pretty fun.
Well, I don't know about spandex. I did see a pink T-shirt, guys, but I didn't see any spandex.
He's going to have a lot to answer for, isn't he?
Well, he had a pink ponytail holder the other day. Somebody brought him in. I saw that. And the car is it's pink. There's no question about that. You should see it in the daylight.
And it just shows how much Kyle Petty loves driving race cars of any description. You think about his NASCAR Nextel Cup commitments and how many weekends he actually has to go to work. He only gets a handful of weekends off a year.
This is for the pleasure of driving for Kyle. I mean, there's no pressure on him here. He doesn't have to deal with the same kind of situation as when you do the Nextel Cup. This is a lot of fun, and that's why these guys like to come here and run. They don't have the pressure. They don't feel the bondage that you get put through as a driver on the Nextel Cup side. Over here, it's a lot of fun.
We see one of our SGS cars sweeping through. That was the Arsco Porsche. I want to update you that Andy Lally leads the way in SGS from Jean-Francois Dumoulin and Craig Stander. They're the top three in SGS. We've also had some changes up the front of the field as well because Angelelli and Wagner have forced their way by Ozzie Negri. So Angelelli now sits third, Paul Wagner fourth, and fifth is Negri. There's Larry Huang in the Silverstone car, and here is our third place GT car. Combination of Chuck Hemmingson and Steve Lisa doing a nice job. Chuck Hemmingson behind the wheel at the moment. We know Chuck from Speed World Challenge Racing. He did touring car for the past few years.
Very good, accomplished front wheel drive car driver. Now he's got a rear wheel with a lot of horsepower Corvette underneath him. Doing a good job there too.
Spirit of Daytona. Prototype forcing its way through. There was Andy Wallace right behind, so good to see the Howard Boss car, the Sitco DP, back out on track. We ride with Angelo now, and he's forced his way past Luis Diaz, so there is no stopping this Pontiac powered Riley. Will he be the one to stand in Lexus way and deny them yet again in victory lane? We will find out later on tonight. But you have to say this car looks strong, and Dorsey, you tipped it right from the beginning.
I think the more it goes green and the slippery the race track gets and the more the congested, the better this 10 car is going to do. It's really, really good at squirting between these corners, and we've already seen it's demonic under braking. Its car's good, Max is excellent.
Well, let's have a look at that pass for second. Angelelli on Luis Diaz. Diaz up ahead.
Now he's just setting him up, working through the infield. There's no room to pass yet. Now another 3 wide, you got it. I'm going to the inside, goes around the 67. Max is not afraid to stick the nose of that thing anyway. He just puts it where it needs to go.
And how important is that skill to be able to use traffic to your advantage like we just saw there?
Well, it is, and it's a big advantage that he has, and he realizes he has. He knows his car out-brakes everybody, number one. He knows his car out-torques coming off a corner. So if he can get 3 wide, really slow everybody down, he's going to come out the winner every time. He knows that.
In the previous 2 events this year, that team have kind of felt wrong. They were charging hard at the Rolex 24 at Daytona. They didn't come up with the result they wanted. Same, they got caught up, tangled up in an incident at Homestead as well, while they were charging well also. Tonight could be their night. It could be the Ganassi night. Let's hear from the team leader.
Here with Chip Ganassi as he talks with team member Chip. You played a strategy, waiting for your fuel window to open and do it under one stop. Angelelli's already pitted and coming like a freight train. How do you change things now?
Well, you know, Calvin, I don't know that we have to change things yet. You know, we're looking, you know, there's a long way to go in this race yet. We didn't have to add any oil to our car. So, you know, it's anybody's race yet.
You feel confident with the Lexus power plant? I mean, the Pontiac gets excellent mileage, but you think you guys have got a good engine that'll get you to the checker tonight?
No, we're very happy with our Lexus engine. Very happy with the car. We're happy with how things are right now.
Okay, well, they're pretty confident down there, but they may be playing the cards close to the chest, Lee. I mean, Angelelli will need less fuel on his stop. It should be a shorter stop when he does have to make his final one.
Chip Ganassi pretty pleased and excited by this program. He was here first thing Thursday morning.
Yeah, I saw that. I was quite amazed to see that. Chip was over here, and he's overseen all of this effort through the entire weekend. He's happy now, I was going to say, though. You know, he can change pretty quickly, too.
Well, we saw his reaction to the Pappas Magnussen incident. Here's the RX.com Doran BMW. This is the only car in this configuration. One of the great things about the Daytona prototype category, there's only 7 constructors for these DPs. You can mix and match the power plants in the rear of them. And of course, the BMW-powered Doran has already come up with an impressive result. Second at Homestead, very nearly a win. Perhaps if that race went a couple of laps longer, Kelly Collins was really charging hard at the end. Here's the 59 with Hurley Haywood on board. And Hurley currently sits 9th at the moment, pushing to catch up to Doug Goad.
Anytime you see Hurley Haywood, you see Brumos, you know it's synonymous with the power plant Porsche. We heard some report that there might be a little bit of fire showing out the back of that. We'll take a look and keep our eyes tuned to that. That could be almost anything. These engines develop a tremendous amount of exhaust gas temperature. If you look underneath the back of almost any of them, you'll see the entire underneath side glowing crystal bright red. So anything that gets on there, residue or whatever, ignites.
Such a completely different race to 12 months ago. 4 Daytona prototypes this time last year at Phoenix, 18 here today. This car came out on top last year, and Hurley Haywood forcing the issue, pushing as hard as he can to repeat that effort in 2004. One car that we saw perform brilliantly earlier, but sadly it's come to a grinding halt, was the number 7 Southern Motorsports car. Let's hear from Shane Lewis.
That's right, Lee. I tracked down Shane Lewis. Shane, the 7 cars now behind the wall. What put you guys out of the race?
Yeah, we got nailed in turn 1. I don't know if you guys saw it on the monitors or not, but super high-risk move. It's just unbelievably a bad move on their part. Broke our steering rack, and unfortunately we're out. I mean, it's a difference between pro drivers and guys that are just driving around there with no common sense, you know. I mean, the guys from their team members should get that guy out of the car and slap him silly, because, you know, the guys work too hard for this. Teams work too hard. We work too hard. We had a meeting, everybody knows, and it's just unbelievable you do something this crazy.
You were absolutely phenomenal on a couple of those restarts. How are you picking that and just flying by those cars?
Well, you know, I mean, obviously we're going to be as aggressive as we can on the restarts, but once again, we're going to play it smart because we got a long race. I mean, our car, we had a good car to go a long haul. We planned a harder tire. We planned a longer pit strategy so we could just try to do this in one stop, because we're going to be a bunch of full course yellows, but my point was not to be a full course yellow. And just to make that kind of move doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, but it's hard because PAP Parts being involved, and all my guys, they bust their butts day in and day out to make this happen. It's just not fair to them.
Mont Tremblant is a 6-hour race. Are we going to see Jack Baldwin back in the car with you guys?
I don't know, that boy Jack, we'd always love to have him back, you know, but we're going to go home, focus on Mont Tremblant for sure, really get there, and we've come a long ways. This other team is awesome, and we're going to get to the victory podium someday soon.
Yeah, these guys have made some big improvements. Hopefully we see them up in Canada.
We know that Cadillac Jack will be back home in Marietta, Georgia watching, so we say hi to Jacko. As we look at this battle for third, Court Wagner really starting to turn up the heat on Luis Diaz. Meanwhile, we saw plenty of emotion there from Shane Lewis. Let's have one final look at that, why he was so hot under the collar.
Coming down into turn 1, watch right here. Shane's to the inside, thinks he's got the apex. Bam! Gets hit. Big hit right there. The 7 goes high. That's Shane Lewis. The 6 makes it around the racetrack with no damage. That's just the way it is.
Aussie Negri in the 6 was the car on the inside. Meanwhile, the RX.com Durham. Court Wagner relentless on Luis Diaz. It's Pappas, Angelelli, then Diaz, the second Ganassi car. Wagner lost a little bit of time there, but they've been playing this race smart as well. They've been topping up where necessary, playing the tyre game, and he'll hand over to Kelly Collins for the second half of this race. Stick around.
Welcome back to Phoenix International Raceway, where you see the GT car, the 45 car. Kyle Petty will take over the wheel of this very hot pink Porsche hot rod, and he'll get that back out there. The battle has been hot and intense tonight. A lot of crashing, and in the words of Dorsey Schrader, buddy, mayhem.
Ryan was struggling to get those words out. Hot pink Porsche.
Well, you can get in trouble, you know, right in that area. But motorized mayhem, it definitely is.
There's Gunnar Jeanette helping Kyle Petty. And speaking of hot battles, look at this. This has been going on for some time throughout the entire commercial break. Court Wagner and Luis Diaz. The red and white Comp USA Riley is Diaz in front. This is for the 3rd spot. And Court Wagner has been relentless in his challenge.
He has tried inside, outside. He's tried going 3 wide, splitting cars to the outside. Nothing has completely worked yet. It's been side by side several times. But Diaz holds him off. Somehow gets away.
You remember at Homestead how good Diaz was on the brakes?
Absolutely.
Very good on the entry to the corner.
But here it's actually Court Wagner the better. Watch right as they come to turn 2. Now he's going to make up a little ground. He'll try to sneak in there if he can.
That's on board with the 5, Justin Pruskowski, and Wagner's lost time as he tries to get by this car. Speed Secrets, Ford Multimatic.
He had trouble getting by this car once before. I remember there were flashing lights at him and so forth. This might break that duo up for a while. In fact, it has. You see right now Diaz opening up quite a bit of lead right now. Over Court, who does a big 4-wheel power slide off the carousel, trying to get a run to get by Pukowski's car.
And he's remaining patient. He hasn't done anything silly. There's Kyle Petty in the Gunnar Racing Porsche.
Cold tires on his out lap.
Just to update you too, that Terry Borchella is just about 2 seconds behind Max Pappas in his quest to try and get back on the lead lap. Let's get it down to the Ganassi camp again. Cal.
Down here with Scott Pruitt, helmet on, ready to go, take over from Max. Everyone's been licking their lips with the thought of Angelelli and you going out at the end of one of these. Are you thinking the same thing?
Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty cool. Our biggest question right now is if we can get a yellow, and we're in the window, we're only making 1 stop, so we need a window to come out, hopefully get a couple laps of yellow within the next 10 laps. If that happens, it's going to be real good for us. If it doesn't, it's going to change the outcome a little bit. We're going to change our strategy.
Yeah, you have about a 10-second lead, but they need a shorter fuel stop, we assume, when they do come in. So does that give them the advantage, do you think?
It's hard to say. I mean, with a shorter fuel stop at the end, they also could go with a softer rubber. I mean, there's so many different ways you could have played it. We didn't know how the yellows were going to fall, so we got what we got, and see what's going to happen here in the next 70, 80 laps.
All right, we look forward to it, mate.
Well, the pressure intensifies because Max Angelelli is now within 3.5 seconds of our race leader, Max Pappas.
Bringing up a good point about going to the softer tires at the end and a shorter fuel stop will make that one wicked fast race car, that's for sure. And there is the 10.
And he is really starting to zero in on Max Pappas. You ride with Max Angelelli. Let's have a listen. Pushed hard, just got around the Ferrari. And it's tight. Look at our top 2 here. There is Angelelli.
Like I say, the longer it goes green, the better this 10 is going to fare, particularly when they get into the slower lap cars. He can just squirt through coming off these corners. The Toyota motor, the Lexus motor, needs to be wound up tight, so it really slows and breaks its momentum a lot more than it breaks this Pontiac's momentum.
Pappas was able to respond that time round. He pulled out another 1.5 seconds, so the margin grows back up to around 5 seconds.
We know he's about to stop too, so he would be running these laps as hard as he possibly can. You see him flashing the lights at some of the slower GT cars just as a courtesy to let them know, hey, I'm coming. Look in your rearview mirror, give yourself a place, let's get this done clean.
Running down the order after Pappas and Angelelli, Diaz, Wagner, And it's still Oswaldo Negri in the top 5. Didier Tay 6th. Doug Goad is 7th. EFR, Elliot Forbes Robinson is in 8th, ahead of Hurley Haywood. And Terry Borchella, the top 10. From our top class to the third class in SGS. Class leading car there is the 38 of Andy Lally. Mark Bunting did a nice job earlier on this evening. And the very talented Andy Lally takes over. And Bunting and Lally are really starting to form a very strong partnership, Chris. This is a good combo.
Yeah, they're really having a clean race. No problem so far. They've just been running their race. However, that switch was early on, so they're looking for a caution here in the next 10 laps so they can get some more fuel in the car, or they're going to have to come in probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Of course, Andy Lally, one of the drivers that already competed once a day in a 200-mile race. So he's doing a fair job of driving today.
Yeah. There is the 91. That car second in SGS. Brian.
More bad luck for the Doncaster guys. They came in, they pulled the left rear tire to look at it. A lot of metal shavings fell out, but they couldn't see an obvious problem. They have put a spare wheel on, thinking that maybe the wheel did not draw up tight on the other one. That could have been the problem. Turning the hub now, looking for the problem. But anytime you kind of come into the pits here in Phoenix, you're in a world of hurt, as short as these lap times are, guys.
Absolutely. The Colton Porsche, while it remains stationary, that is tough news for the Doncaster organisation. Now he gets released. Jean-Francois Dumoulin will do his best, but they're up against stiff competition like this. Dave Murray and the Arsco Motorsports Porsche, they're in search of their second consecutive class win. A car and a team that has made a pretty big impact on the SGS, the newly formed SGS class in 2004.
A little bump and run happening up in front of David there, in front of that car. The prototypes are hitting side by side in front of him.
Jean-Francois Dumoulin and Robert Julian won the SGS class at Daytona. Murray Stanton won it at Homestead. We could have our third different winner here tonight in Phoenix in that SGS class. Meanwhile, as we take a quick commercial break, here's your top 5 in each of our 3 classes. Stick around. Still so much more to come from Phoenix. Welcome back to Phoenix. The round 3 of the Rolex Sports Car Series continues. Lee Diffie with Dorsey Schrader here in the booth. Calvin Fish, Brian Till, and Chris Neville down on pit lane. And you're looking at the G&W Motorsports, RX.com Doran, BMW Power Plant, and Paul Wagner has driven very, very well tonight. So well, he has worked his way back up into the top 3. This is how he did it.
Port Wagner's been trying for a long time. He sees the Porsche, finally gets to use it as a pick. Come out of NASCAR 4, goes low underneath, and finally makes the pass stick, and since then has been opening up a big lead.
He was able to force his way past Diaz there. The 0-2 is in. Cal.
Diaz has brought the 0-2 machine in, and his Mexican teammate Jimmy Morales behind the wheel. He's got the engine fired up. Looks like he's ready to go. Going to be a 4-tire change, waiting for that last drop of fuel. And I believe they're sticking with this harder compound. That's a little bit strange to me, as this midnight hour, not midnight hour, but nighttime hours, for about 15 degrees cooler on track temp. I thought this team may have gone for a softer compound, but there's good pit stop by the Ganassi boys. Big wheel spin by Jimmy Morales as he exits pits.
Boy.
Well, let's give Luis Diaz some credit. He said after Homestead he will never make that kind of a mistake again when he ran off the track whilst leading, and that young Mexican has not put a foot wrong tonight.
And I'm with Calvin. I'm totally surprised that they haven't gone to a softer compound tire. 15 degrees less track temp. Of course, it's going to just keep cooling off, no question about it. And right now he needs speed as we ride on board with the leader, headed into turn 1.
80 laps down last year's race here in Phoenix. We clocked off 151 laps. 250-mile event, or 2 3/4 hours, whichever comes first.
Max Pappas and 2 cars behind is Max Angelelli, not far back now. Now he's only 1 car behind. He's the next car, and he's making ground. He's only
1.5 seconds back.
So he was 4 seconds back 2 laps ago. He is making big ground, and we know Max is going to have to pit any minute now.
And let's not forget too, talking back to the 81 car, Wagner and Collins, they pitted on 35 for fuel and tires, so they're good to go for quite a bit longer yet as well.
Well, traffic jam big time as Angelelli works his way to the inside.
Challenge for the lead. You ride with Max Angelelli, the Italian, chasing fellow Italian Max Pappas.
And Max is getting after it.
Word from the pits, they're setting up for Max, and Pappas pulls in. So Pappas never got past for the race lead the entire time. Sensational performance from Pappas, the former open wheeler driver, and the Ganassi crew set to go to work. 5 former crewmen from Scott Dixon's 2003 IRL winning team on this car, on this crew right now. They go to work, Cal.
Well, a lot of experience on this team, as you said, Liam. We expect a flawless pit stop here, and they need one. Angelelli has taken the lead. He'll need a pit, but that should be a short one, so Pruitt has his work cut out. Now, remember, he's running a different tyre combination to the O2 car. He's got the softer 370 tyres on the left side and the harder ones on the right, and this team has really done a lot of work to try and ease the cockpit temperature in these Rileys that have excessive cockpit temperature and also really bad air into the cockpit. It really pulls a lot of bad air for these drivers to breathe over the course of 1 or 2 hour stints. They're really trying to ease the load on the drivers. Good stop, everything waiting for the last few drops of fuel. Now the engine dies. Remember, the engine can be running in this form of competition, and now this is precious few seconds there long before it gets back underway. Let's go down to Chris Neville.
Thanks, Cal. The number 6, Oswaldo Nagy, just brought that car in. Bert Frizzell is going to finish up this race. They really needed to get this car in pit lane after he had that contact with Shane Lewis. He was running 3rd. However, these tires were worn out. He needed to get the car in here. That's what they're doing now. So hopefully they'll have a smooth stop, can get Bert out, and he can finish this race.
Calvin was mentioning about the ventilation and inside the cockpit in the 01 Ganassi car. Pappas this weekend going for one of those nose bridges, you know, that pull your nostrils apart. He said, I've got a pretty badly broken nose from many years ago. I said, too many fights on the football field. He said, no, I died in the shallow end.
Well, he's talking about bad air inside the car. Let me explain that for people at home a little bit. 2 things that get in there. Carbon monoxide, when you get off the throttle, gets sucked up in there, so you get that. You can feel it in your throat. Worse than that, right here we have problems on this car. Worse than that, it's that these carbon fiber brakes. You get on the brake, having a lot of trouble with that one nut right there. It's killing this stop. New air gun going on. I'll get back to that carbon fiber thing in a minute. We've got big problems here. Anyway, the carbon fiber dust gets in, you get into your lungs, you start to breathe, and you get a sore throat after about 15 minutes in these cars. They send him out. I'm questionable about that right rear nut. Is it on tight, or is it not on tight? We'll find out.
And that's the first little hiccup we've seen from the Michael Shank crew in a long time. They've had a very good start to this new season for that new team in Daytona Prototypes. Remember, that was the side of the car that had the heavy impact with Shane Lewis as well.
Absolutely true.
We ride with our new race leader, the SunTrust Riley, the Pontiac power plant. Max Angelelli at the wheel as he approaches Andy Wallace, the race-winning car from Homestead. It's been a troublesome night in Phoenix for the Howard Boss team in the Simcoe GP car. So Angelelli on top and Wagner in pursuit will return. Back at Phoenix, and we are under our 5th full course caution. This is going to hamper the Ganassi boys big time. That came out at just a couple of laps too late. And it looks like the reason involves the Silverstone Racing Services Daytona prototype Larry Huang. Here's the reason.
Spins down here in the hairpin. Now it gets turned around backwards, stalls the engine, cannot get restarted for the longest time. And then once he does get it fired, he's got this line of cars coming straight at him, so he can't really move. When he did finally get moved, he got stuck over up against the wall, couldn't get in reverse, so they had to stop and get him. And now the 27th in, and Calvin's there. Cal?
Well, and most importantly, Didier Taze is staying behind the wheel. Remember how early he took over from Freddie Lienhardt. This is going to be a tough night's work for Didier, but he talks about helping up these mountains here in Phoenix. He's going to need all of that training here to get through this. It's not so much the conditions here on the race. Ambient temperature pretty low, but the cockpit temperature is extremely high in these Daytona prototypes, Dorsey. Let's go down to Brian.
Calvin, the 81 car is in. Wagner is out. Kelly Collins gets in. He is the finisher. It's a routine stop for these guys. I asked him, can you go the distance on fuel? Absolutely. They're having a problem with the right front. Guys had a problem with it. They started to take the air wrench away. They've gone back now, and this is going to hurt them. At least it's under yellow. He actually started to put the old tire back on. A little bit of confusion here. At least it's under yellow, but these guys are doing a tremendous job, and it speaks a lot for the cars, too. There is no magic to these cars. A good team with a good setup, and they run well. They've only had this car for a couple of races, and look how well they're doing, Lee.
Kelly Collins had a storming drive last night in the Grand Sport Division in Grand Am Cup, and Angelelli's back in as well. These two cars have gained the most from this most recent caution. Chris?
That's right, Lee. These guys are in great shape. This is going to be a real quick stop. Angelelli's going to stay in the car. They're going to put 4 new tires on, fuel them up, and they're going to be good to go to the end, so he won't have to come back down. What a great position for them. I think it really caught the Ganassi guys out.
Well, it was only 2 laps, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the 59 is in pit lane as well. Hurley Haywood brings the Brumos Porsche Fab car in, and he has been clicking off some very consistent lap times and working his way up the order as well as Angelelli is sent.
He'll go back out, and as well, like you said, Hurley will stay in that car. They'll put some tires on it, they'll fuel it up and send him back on his way. There he goes right now, as a matter of fact. He's been turning some really good lap times, like you say. That, a Porsche-powered car.
Pay credit too to the Spirit of Daytona car. Doug Goad, Stefan Gregoire. Gregoire started that car. Carona, Doug Goad in it now, and they've been consistently in the top 10 today. And they're making the most of this recent portion as well. We go back on board with Max Angelelli. First time this car has run with traction control. They had a 3-day test at Putnam Park. Worked very hard, and it was a very successful test for them. And the 21 GT class leading car is in. Brian Till.
It's been a routine stop. They took tires, they took fuel. They're even going to take the time to clean the windshield down here, but it was very congested. Car is actually kind of cocked at an angle when it came in, and luckily the other traffic has left. A lot of these pits are double pitted in here because the number of cars that we have and traffic on pit lane has been just as intense as traffic on the racetrack.
Well, they might have cleaned his windscreen, but they didn't do a very good job on Angelelli's. You saw that on board, looking out all the streaks of it still. That can be a factor later on.
There's more problems down there, I think, as they try and help the 21. Well, let's find out. Let's get the other side of the story. We heard from Shane Lewis. He was pretty hot under the collar about Oswaldo Negri. Let's hear from Ozzy himself.
Oz, on that pit stop, we saw problems getting that right rear tire off. That was because of the contact with Shane Lewis in the number 7. Tell us about that contact.
Well, I just came out of turn 4 much quicker than him. I gave him room when he went by. He came out quick. He overtook me in the same spot. He didn't give me any room. I had no choice. I had to choose between the wall on the inside, which is unmovable, and his car. And I just did the best I could to get out of there alive. I mean, it's pretty wild out there. Unfortunately, we've been suffering the same problem as we had the race at Homestead. The car starts to lose grip as the tires get worn, and I guess we need to do a little bit more testing. We seem to be able to qualify well, but we still need to find a way of maintain a good rhythm in the race.
Well, this team has shown that they can be very fast out there. Now, one of the problems is they could not get that right rear off, so Bert Fischel is out there. He's going to have to keep that right rear tire on the entire race.
Look here, Terry Borscheller in number 54 has got the door open, and the reason is exactly what we talked about. It's really hot in there. Terry's overheating. It's 150 degrees. He needs a little quick, fresh air. Calvin?
Well, just to update that situation, the team believes that the vent hose, they have a little fan that circulates air into the helmet, has come disconnected from Terry's helmet, and he's really been struggling. Again, he's one of those drivers who took over very early in this race, so with the extended stint that he's doing, he's really paying the price right now, Dawes.
Last year here in Phoenix, we saw David Donahue do around, I think it was about a 2-hour, 20-minute stint. So it can be done, but if Terry's not getting that ventilation to his helmet, he's going to be hurting. But he continues his amazing charge, and we'll follow that when we return. You're back with us live at Phoenix International Raceway here on Speed. Round 3 of the Rolex Sports Car Series continues. And race-leading car, Max Angelelli, is in a very, very strong position due to this most recent caution period. As we get set to work our way back to green. This most recent one due to Larry Huang spinning a little earlier in the Silverstone Daytona prototype. Well, the man who has led the majority of this race and did a fine job in the Comp USA Ganassi Daytona prototype is Mad Max Pappas. He's with Cal.
Max, it seemed like you drove the perfect stint, but the way the yellows have fallen, it seems like you're still a little bit behind the 8 ball now as we head into the final stages here. Your thoughts as we enter that?
You know, our Comp USA car was running really well. You know, we got a little bit loose towards the end of the stint, but the traffic is going to be the biggest part. You know, managing traffic and managing your rear tire for the last 15 laps is going to make a hell of a difference. And at the moment, you know, it was a lot of fun. You know, it was a lot of overtaking.
Looks like you're on your best behavior tonight too.
Yeah, I told Chip that you know, usually I mess up only once in a year, so he's behind my shoulder.
All right, mate, great job.
Speaking with Mike Hull from Ganassi the other day, I said, you don't have to tell us too many details, but what was the disciplinary procedure like at Ganassi with Max? He said, we let it go for about 2 or 3 days, then we spoke to Max. There's a pretty urgent situation with Terry Borchella. Calvin, tell us more.
Well, they made a pit stop there under this caution, and they were just dumping ice and water into Terry's lap. He's really overheated, and again, we talked about the length of the stint he's doing, but they decided that to really stand a shout here tonight, they need to keep Terry inside the car, behind the wheel, and we're going back to green. Let's see what he can do.
5th caution is over and done with Max Angelelli in the SunTrust. Pontiac Riley leads the field down into turn 1. And we counted down less than an hour to go. There's 47 minutes to run in this, the 3rd round of the Rolex Series.
Well, I'll tell you one thing Terry Borchella's got to worry about. You dump that ice water on you, it works good for about 15 or 20 minutes. But then in the bottom of the seat, it all forms down there, and it can actually start to boil. If that happens, well, you know what happens then. I can tell you, that is not fun. Oh, sideways in front of everybody, one of the Porsches. Holy cow, that could have been a big one.
They've worked their way back up to speed, getting back into that rhythm. It's Angelelli leading the way from the 0-1 of Scott Pruitt, just taking over from Max Pappas. Then it's Kelly Collins in the RX.com Doran. Look how busy it is out there.
Cold tires, some new drivers taking their first laps right now. That's when you can really make a mistake quickly, except for this man. Angelelli on front and just running away, which is exactly what I thought would happen.
And there's the possibility of a Pontiac hat trick. Borchella, Barber and Co. won at the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Andy Wallace, Milcaduno won in a Pontiac-powered Crawford at Homestead, and that's a Pontiac-powered Riley out in front.
Scott Pruitt's going to have to drive, just drive his wheels off to get up to that. I think Angelelli is really tuned up because he ran all of his laps before this, so he knows what the racetrack's like. Scott's taking his first laps of the day right now.
Scott has never actually, interestingly enough, in such a long and illustrious career, Scott Pruitt, he has never actually raced at this track. He's tested here, never competed. The 21, the GT class leading car of Big Bad Boris said. He's behind the wheel. And the man who's just finished his stint, Bill Orland, is with Brian.
Well, Billy Alberlin just got out of the leading BMW. Billy, man, it looks crazy out there, but that last stop, it looked like a nice, leisurely, normal stop, but you got held up. Why?
Something about going too fast into the yellow. I've never heard that, but, you know, so be it. The BMW's running great. The M3, you know, Tom Milner, all the guys, fantastic job. We had a little problem in the morning, in the warm-up in the afternoon. They got it worked out. The car is awesome. Now it's up to Boris to bring it home.
Restarts look a little bit crazy out there, yet the car didn't have a mark on it. Everything good?
Oh man, you can't believe every restart. You're looking, you're like a chameleon. You got every eye and every mirror because they come in from all sides, and you're like, please don't hit me, you know. And you want to slow down, but you know the guy behind you's going to run into you. So, luckily we've made it through, and got my fingers crossed. It's a tough race, but it is a lot of fun every year we come here.
I asked him earlier. He said no marks on the car yet. Keyword yet, guys.
Yeah. Second in GT is Kyle Petty in the Gunner Racing Porsche. And third is Steve Lisa, Chuck Hemmingson. So top 3 remain the same in our GT class.
You know, driving these different speed cars, it's kind of difficult because that GT car on a slow corner is every bit as fast and sometimes faster than Daytona prototypes because the prototypes make no downforce at low speed. And sometimes the GT cars have a better balance on those type of corners.
Jimmy Morales has worked his way past Kelly Collins. So the Ganassi pair are on a pretty hard move at the moment. Kelly Collins in the RX.com Doran finds himself back in form. And Jimmy Morales, who put in a fine performance at Homestead, he actually surprised quite a few. The former Grand Prix motorcycle racer enjoying his time in the Rolex Series.
This car and driver combination astounded everybody at Homestead. And we talked to them and they said, you know, nobody expected us to be that fast so early.
Yeah.
And maybe we didn't either, but we knew we'd be good. Boy, did they show us.
Now Kelly Collins comes back. This battle is far from over. Let's hear from Kelly Collins' teammate.
Thanks, Lee. I'm down here with Court Wagner. Court, you got a black flag early on. You had to come and do a stop-and-go penalty, went all the way to the back. You took the car up to second place. Tell us about that run.
It was an incredible run. I mean, Garrett Grossenbach of the G&W Motorsports crew, they're putting together an incredible effort. I mean, RX.com, that's why we're here. And the car was handling great. These guys worked all weekend really hard. It's really their race. I was just driving it. I mean, the call in the beginning was really, for me, it was a bad call, but whatever. I went to the back, and the car was handling great. Right tire choice, everything worked out great. Charged back right up to the front again. It was a lot of fun. Long time in the car, though. 2 hours I was ready to get out.
Kelly's fighting right now with Yo 2 Ganassi car. Does he have anything for that car?
I think we do. I mean, I reeled both the Ganassi cars in, went by him, and pulled them about a second a lap on when I was in the car. Now, maybe their tires were going off or something. I'm not sure, but I think we got something for those guys, absolutely. The only car that's blowing me away is that SunTrust car. Those guys are just different league at the moment.
These guys are pretty pumped up down here.
Well, we've been impressed by the SunTrust car, and even the competition is impressed by it.
Well, I tell you, we don't talk enough about that BMW power plant either. I talked to Steve Dynan, and of course, is one of the best BMW power performance guys there is in the country, and he said it's actually not working hard at all. It's actually detuned from the street car. It runs less revs. He goes, that thing will run for the whole year, and I believe he's right about that.
And in a strange repeat, the 81 car, the RX.com Doran, at Homestead at its first race meeting this year, they missed the entire first practice session of the weekend. Coming here to Phoenix, the same thing happened, but for a different reason. So they've started both weekends behind the 8 ball, but when it's come time for them to perform in the race, the G&W Motorsports team are right up to it. Here's our race leader, Max Angelelli, in search of a podium Daytona prototypes in the Rolex series. They're yet to finish in the top 3. They're ready to go all the way to the top and score a win for the SunTrust team. Lee Kidney, Dorsey Schrader here in the booth, Calvin Fish, Brian Till and Chris Nella downstairs. The SGS battle is alive and well. This is the newly formed 3rd category for the Grand American Road Racing Association. Andy Lally leads the way from this car, Dave Murray, but there is nothing between these guys. They're fighting it out fiercely, and the second TPC Porsche is right in the mix as well for Randy Popes. I think that Dave Murray may have just got past Andy Lally. They now lead the way in this class.
He did indeed. There's something that scared me about riding on the roof of David Murray's car when he's in the lead. But David is just so good with these Porsches. Look right here, looking out the back off the roof. That is Andy Lally right behind him. And that's how close this battle is they're right nose to tail coming through this infield.
I had the fortune of doing 2 laps around this circuit earlier in the week with Dave Murray in that Arsco Porsche, and I was very, very impressed. It's a slick operation and a good combination.
Look how close, almost touching as they get through the carousel here.
That's Kyle Petty.
Kyle Petty being really aggressive right there on David Murray's tail. Here they come up toward the hairpin. Will they take a braking maneuver? I don't think he's got enough right there now.
Both Porsches, but completely different classes. Kyle Petty is in the GT class.
And Randy Pope's there right behind them all.
Randy is now in 2nd in SGS. In fact, Dave Murray still hasn't got past Andy Lally. That TPC Porsche was Randy Pope, so Lally does lead the way by 3.5 seconds over Dave Murray. It's Randy Pope who's putting the pressure on.
And there goes Kyle Petty in the faster class car. He's cleanly by now.
That's the GT3 RS that goes whipping on by. Dave Murray is in the GT3 Cup car. Calvin.
A quick update on Murray's situation. I spoke to Craig Stanley, brought that car in the lead into the pits after about 1 hour, and I said, Craig, are you good on fuel? He said, yeah, we're good on fuel, but doing 2 hours on those tires is going to be a little sketchy. I'll tend to skate around a little bit at the end of that stint, so they're intending for Murray to take this car to the finish with no more stops, but tire wear will be a concern for these boys.
3 different classes, 3 different tire manufacturers, and there is a spec tire rule as far as it is a control tire rule for each of the 3 classes. Hoosier tires on the SGS cars, GT cars run with Dunlop, and the big boys in Daytona prototypes all run on Goodyear tires. We've had a change up front, but I can tell you that Kelly Collins has worked his way past Jimmy Morales, and now there's a battle on there as they squeeze on by. That was the Spirit of Daytona prototype with Doug Goad on board, but let's go back and have a replay look at how Collins got past Morales.
In traffic, Kelly Collins has been working really hard. He gets balked right there. And you see right behind the 09, there's a little hole. Am I going to miss? Yeah, I'm going. Let's go. Good job right there. Kelly Collins drives it up the inside. No defending that. That was tight, too. There's not a lot of room there.
Nice work. Just to update you on the lead margin, it's getting more and more comfortable all the time for Angelelli. That lead margin has grown to 18.7 seconds. The SunTrust car, to put it in Kurt Wagner, as Kurt Wagner said, this car is in a class of its own. And let's hear from the man who makes these cars.
Thanks, Lee. I'm down here with Bill Riley. Bill, right now, 2 of your chassis are leading the way in the Daytona prototypes, but you call a lot of the strategy and the engineering on the number 10 SunTrust car. Is this the breakthrough weekend for the SunTrust team?
Yeah, it's really good. We're having good luck so far this race. You know, it's some bad luck at Daytona and bad luck, you know, at Homestead, but here we are.
Well, these guys are just keeping their fingers crossed down here. They did have some bad luck, and they're hoping that all they have to do is about another half an hour here.
But I think you've got to give credit too to the team principal, Wayne Taylor. He said by his own admission that after 18 months away from it, he's starting to get back into the groove and back into the rhythm, and his opening stint was pretty impressive.
Indeed, you look while we're riding my point with Max Angelelli, how busy in traffic it is. He's got the perfect combination of car and engine for this kind of situation. This traffic, he's got the torque and the downforce. Now see right there, he could drive to the inside, but he realizes the 66 doesn't know he's there. So he had to let off the throttle. Now he's going to not be happy about that, but he didn't crash the car either, did he?
They're estimating this race could go around the 140 lap mark. And as you can see there, we've just clicked up 105 for Angelelli. It is a Pontiac-powered Riley that leads the way, ahead of a Lexus-powered Riley. Then it's the BMW Doran for Kelly Collins, another Lexus-powered Riley, and then another Lexus-powered car, but the Doran chassis, Didier Tays. Here is the Spirit of Daytona machine, Doug Goad and Stefan Gregoire. This is their best run of the year.
They've had a lot of teething problems with a brand new engine and a brand new car. They've been working on it, and Stefan was telling us, we've got it figured out now. You know, we just need to fine-tuning it, and they're having a great run here this weekend.
Doug Goad stepping up from the Grand Am Cup Series to the main event and thoroughly enjoying it. They sit in 7th at the moment. Let's hear from Stefan Gregoire.
One of the most interested spectators out here, Stefan Gregoire. You guys get better and better every weekend. You just got to get the bad luck away. You think this is the weekend where you guys can pull through, maybe get a top 5?
Yes, that's exactly what we had in mind, is come here and do a top 5. We haven't been lucky so far, like you just said. Daytona was unfortunate. We had a crash with Robbie Gordon. And the last race I was 4th. We had an engine problem when we came in, and here we really want to score some points and take it easy, kind of, because we have a test here, so we absolutely want to keep the car in one piece. We're going to do a test on Monday and Tuesday, so the coach is doing a great job right now. It's unfortunate I had to come in a little bit too early because we thought we had a tire going down on pressure, so he's doing a great job. Right now we're 7th, I believe, so hopefully we'll do a top 5.
Well, you heard they want to keep the car in one piece. They're going to get the opportunity to finally develop this car a little bit more, so they want to make sure they get a good finish. But most of all, they got a car on 4 tires at the end of this thing.
Full course caution. It's our 6th one of the evening, and you can see the safety crew there down on track.
They're in NASCAR turn 4, and they're picking up a lot of something that they don't like sitting out there, and that's pretty... Oh, the 27, unfortunately, the Duran has hit the wall. That's our debris. Damage to the left front, it looks like. Calvin?
Well, as the whole front actually, Dorsey's got into the radiator. You see the steam emanating from under the hood there. And the team, Kevin Duran, was in no real hurry to leap over the wall, thinking that this may be too much damage for these guys to fix. So until they get the nose off and really inspect it, we will not know. But it's a lengthy change when you start hitting these sort of body parts. One thing to tag the nose, when you get into that under tray and the nose clip itself, it's a lengthy repair. Remember, Didier got in the car early. I spoke to Kevin just a short while ago about how he was feeling. He said, yeah, he's okay. He's not going to be Tony the Tiger when he jumps out of this thing. But he seems to be holding up okay. But a mistake or some sort of traffic incident has put Didier into the wall.
In slow motion.
Watch this next set coming right here of headlights.
There it
spin.
goes.
Yeah, he's already spun down the bottom, up into the wall quite hard.
This is the onboard view from Max Angelelli. He sees what's happened.
Oh boy, that's a bad view, isn't it?
Takes evasive action to miss Didier Taylor. So that's our 6th caution of the evening. It's been a pretty eventful one here at Phoenix, and the countdown clock is on. 30 minutes remaining as we welcome you back to Phoenix. It's a pretty sad sight for the Doran Lister Daytona prototype as it gets wheeled behind pit wall, and Kevin Doran, the team principal, will be very disappointed with that. A tough break for those guys. Didier Tays, a former Rolex Series champion, was behind the wheel when it happened. Let's find out exactly what happened. He's with Cal.
Well, indeed, they have retired the car. Didier, what exactly happened to you out there?
Oh, I was just by myself on the banking. With the second set of tires, I had a little bit more understeer than I had with the first set. And I had to lift off quite a bit, you know, every lap in the middle of the banking. And I lift off a little bit, you know, like I did the previous lap. And all of a sudden, the car snapped on me. You know, maybe I raised my foot off the throttle a little bit too fast on that lap because that maybe I had more understeer than the previous lap. But it's just, you know, just because I lift off and the rear snap on me. And I slide, and all of a sudden, in the end, the front touched the outside wall. That's why I damaged the radiator.
You've lived in Phoenix for many years. There's a special place in your heart. It's where you actually met Freddie here back in 1993. But Kevin Durant told me this evening, you've always had a bad setup on the car here. You could never get a handle on a car here at Phoenix.
We've never been competitive here. With any car we came, with the Ferrari, with the Crawford, with the Dallara, and now with the Doran, you know, hope we can put that behind us now and look forward for Mont Tremblant.
Well, he has a smile on his face, and I'm sure they'll come back strong at the next one, guys.
We hope so. A win for that team it's been there, and it keeps getting snatched away from them. So we wish them well in the future, that's for sure. There's 8 cars in between our race-leading car, Max Angelelli, and Scott Pruitt in the Comp USA Ganassi, the Lexus-powered Riley. So if Scott Pruitt can make quick work of that, remember the lead margin was some 18.5 seconds, so that's evaporated. And if Scott can make quick work of whipping by those 8 cars, he can take the fight to Angelelli. There's only 3 cars separating the 81 of Kelly Collins and the 01 of Scott Pruitt. So we've got a race on our hands.
Now remember, I believe that Angelelli's car is the better car in traffic. However, if Scott gets through this traffic and gets on one-on-one a mono, forget about it. I think really that the Lexus has got the legs here, and it could turn the fastest lap as it did in qualifying. And Pruitt's behind the wheel, so we'll see.
This is what it looks like when you're leading a field and you come to green. The 6th caution is over, and Angelelli puts his foot to the floor. He's going to try and maximize that clear track ahead. Meanwhile, the workload is all on Scott Pruitt. He needs to get past these slower cars.
Scott's got to be aggressive, and I'm sure he's going to be. He's going to try to whittle his way through this mess and get it dispatched in one lap if he can. It's his best chance. Cars everywhere. There's one up on the banking.
Frizzell, that was Bert Frizzell.
Looks like damage to the left rear of that Corvette. I think we've had some sort of problem down in there, but it's not over with. Everybody's still going. There's Scott Pruitt. He's through most of the mess.
So that has been very, very helpful. As he comes by the 47 with Mike Boffman behind the wheel. Now Pruitt gets a taste. He can see where Angelelli is. As they exit 9 and stretch down towards NASCAR 4. Heavy work going down there in the Bell Motorsports team. This is on board with the reigning champion, Terry Borchella. What's happening down there, Calvin?
Well, he's hit someone in the right rear here. The upper wishbone is completely bent, and they're using the AJ Foyt method of trying to straighten this thing out, it looks like. Try and find the biggest hammer here, try and straighten the thing out. I mean that in the best of terms, of course, but it's been a tough day for these boys. Terry's been overheated in the car, and he's really done yeoman work to stay in there, but some damage there. He's got into some traffic in some form or another, and I'm not sure you can really straighten this thing out to really get it around the racetrack quickly, Dawes.
Well, that's not even if they bend it back straight again, then that's not a good fix. No question about that. It weakens that whole thing, and that's adding fuel to the fire, unfortunately.
Another car in trouble is the Chuck Hemmingson Stephen Lisa Corvette.
That was the car in turn 1 I saw that was damaged, which is probably what sent the car we were talking about up the hill and around NASCAR 3 and 4. Yeah. Bert Frizzell, right. I think that was contact with this car, the Corvette. Hemmingson.
So the ICYSL car makes its way back very gingerly towards pit lane, where that team will have to go to work, and that looks ugly.
I think it's no more than body damage, that the body rubbing on the tire. I don't think there's a lot of damage. They just need to get in there and get that all tore away.
riding with Angelelli. As he whipped by Terry Borcella.
Borcella will be in the just cruise mode now. He's just trying to get the thing to the finish line. He can't race competitively anymore, that's for sure. Now, Scott Pruitt, where is he? That's the guy we got to watch. He will be on kill right now, and there he is. He's made up a great deal of ground.
This is good. This is very good. Now it's a one-on-one fight. Last time round, the margin was only 2.1 seconds.
And in this mode, I believe Scott Pruitt is the quicker car. Angelelli will have to really run hard and try to get to the tail end of all these lap cars. Get back in the thick of things there. That's where he's good.
These top two cars, while this car, the 01 Comp USA Ganassi Riley, has completely dominated qualifying this year. 3 consecutive poles. Neither Angelelli and Taylor or Pappas and Pruitt have stood on the podium in season 2004.
Pruitt with the big switch here just tells you one thing. He's trying really, really hard. Right there, the last lap time, though, the faster of the two. Angelelli, 59. Fastest car in the car, and the track, however, wasn't either one of them. It was the 81.
Kelly Collins is flying.
59 flat as Kelly Collins is the quickest car. Let's see what he can do.
We have seen lap times in the 58s tonight, so they're not the fastest laps of the race. But these top 3 guys are on it, and they're on it big style. Angelelli over Pruitt, over Kelly Collins. Jimmy Morales staying in touch, and Butch Leitzinger comes up into the top 5, while Big Bad Boris continues to lead the way in GT. Back in the thick of it, Stephen Lisa coming into contact with the wall quite heavily just after the team had fixed the rear end of that car. When we left you that rear end there, the left side was heavily damaged. The team did a terrific job to get him back out on track, but now he has just nailed the concrete wall in quite a high-speed accident. I think he may have received a little help over in that section of the circuit. And look, he is not happy. Now this is at the last restart. This is what happened when he got touched right there. There's a Porsche that nails him right in that rear end. Up ahead, the Essex Racing car and Bert Frizzell look like they got together. So that's why the team had to go to work. This is the most recent incident now.
Watch, oh my gosh, he just got taken out big time.
And that was Kelly Collins who swerved back. Not sure if there was something on the track that Kelly swerved so aggressively to miss. Maybe something that Porsche in front had dropped.
Watch here, watch here. I don't know. I think he thought he had him cleared and he didn't. And that's very, very fast, and he hit this concrete wall a ton. I heard it all the way up here in the booth. I mean, that's okay.
We welcome you back to Phoenix, and this is live racing action from the Rolex Sports Car Series. And it doesn't get any better than this as we work our way back to green flag racing. It's Pruitt, Collins chasing Max Angelelli in the final minutes of this one. Round 3 of the Rolex Sports Car Series. Can Pruitt catch him? Can Collins catch Pruitt? Those questions will be answered in the next few minutes.
Well, there's nobody in between Pruitt and where he needs to be, that's for sure. Unfortunately, Kelly Collins is mired into a bunch of this, which is a mess for him to get through. He's also got to get through and get through in a hurry because these front 2 cars are going to be checking out.
And there was just an awkward incident there. Kelly Collins ducked around some of those slower cars. Oh, Butch Leitzinger and Hurley Haywood going hard at it as well. And Hurley runs a little wide. Jimmy Morales in the mix also.
Hurley runs a little wide because he had a little nose push him out there and nothing he could do about that. It's really aggressive time now. We're down to about 12 minutes of racing left. Here into the hairpin, everybody's blocking. Look, 3 wide.
Oh, Andy Wallace, nice move. Wallace really forced his way up through there. He's well down in the order in this one due to that heavy incident and accident before with Milcaduno. But Andy not giving up.
No, he's not giving up. He's trying to get a lap back. It's too late, too little late for him right now. The rest of these guys are racing for position. Look at the go car underneath. Hurley Haywood takes the position.
Great work from the Spirit of Daytona, Pontiac powered Crawford. And Doug Goad, one of those weird little things, he has raced his entire career with a plain white crash helmet. He got it painted with a special design on it for this race, and suddenly their luck has changed.
He has no time in prototypes, but he knows a lot about race cars. He knows what he's going to have to do to make this quicker. He's getting there. Look at Pruitt. He's almost run in. Angelelli, he's right there, right at it.
He's got him inside. This is a pretty intriguing battle, Chris. What do you have for us on the 10?
Well, I checked in with Wayne Taylor before we went back to green, and Wayne said that the SunTrust car has been, this is the best car they've had all year, so Max has got a great horse he's riding right now. And if there's a better guy out here who can attack, it's Max Angelelli. So they're just putting all their chips on him, and they're ready to roll the dice.
Oh, say that again for Pruitt. they got the same situation. I think Pruitt's car is the quicker car if it's one-on-one. Angelelli, on the other hand, if he can just hold out long enough to get in the lap traffic, that car then becomes really good. He'll make his moves then.
These are two cars with identical chassis. It's built by Riley Technologies. The difference is in the power plants. The lead car is a Pontiac powered car. This is the Lexus powered Riley for Chip Ganassi Racing.
One a 5-speed, one a 6-speed. Pruitt's got the 6-speed, Angelelli the 5, but Angelelli's got the advantage of the big torque of the Pontiac motor. You need it here. And there is Collins. Here he comes. Kelly Collins, don't count him out.
The margin is around about 5 seconds. That's what Kelly needs to catch up to Scott Pruitt. Can he do it? Well, he's got 8.5 minutes, Brian.
Well, down here, they feel that maybe they can catch up to Pruitt. As a matter of fact, they feel like they have something for him. They don't think that they have anything for Angelelli. Kellums is able to run on the softer compound tires. They put those on when he went in, and that could be the advantage. He's gotten through traffic, but it did put him back a ways. Let's see if he can hunt him down, Lee.
In GT, it is still Bill Aublin, Borisset. Borisset is behind the wheel. He's doing a great job. Kyle Petty runs second in GT class. Third is Ian James, RJ Valentine, and Chris Gleason.
Max Angelelli just turns the fastest race lap that he's run, a 57.169. He's serious about it. 57.6 comes in with Pruitt, so half a second faster advantage with Angelelli.
Back up front, it's the Italian leading the American.
3 different engine makes 1, 2, 3. It's the BMW. Kelly Collins is sort of trying to catch up with that Lexus power plant.
This is the kind of stuff that Pruitt thrives on.
Angelelli too, however.
Yeah. I love the roar of that Lexus engine.
Well, that one's running 8,000 RPM against 5,700. The BMW's down there, like they're all 3 different configurations, but they're getting the job done. That's what's great about this class. It's really working well.
They're down to the 57s.
57, 379 Angelelli, the quicker, 57.90 with Pruitt.
And there's 1.8 seconds between these guys, and time is running out for Scott Pruitt. He's got less than 7 minutes to go.
Particularly if Angelelli continues to run quicker lap time. Scott Pruitt right now is not being able to match the speed of Angelelli, and that's the telling tale.
And that graphic illustrates the point. Collins is running out of time as well, and he's only got about a 1 second margin on Jimmy Morales. Morales isn't done with yet either.
And up front is exactly what Angelelli needs. Here comes all the lap traffic, and we know what he does with that. He just chews it up and spits it out.
Top 5 is the best of the Howard Boss cars, the Pontiac Howard, Crawford, Butch Leitzinger, and Elliott Forbes Robinson. They hold down that 5th place spot from the charging Doug Go.
Listen to Scott, almost flat here, not quite, but he's trying hard. Not here now. Angelelli where he needs to be. He's in his own element. Watch him in the brake zones. Watch him here in 2. Inside this Porsche, I guarantee he's going up in there.
In SGS, there is a thrilling battle going on as we look at some of these Porsche cars. Randy Post has taken over the lead. Sadly, Andy Lally is in trouble as this guy weaves his way through the traffic.
Look at him come through here. Just really doing great jobs on moves through here.
And this could be what Pruitt needs.
That'll drive Pruitt crazy, though, because he can't get to it.
We will update you on all 3 classes when we come back, and we will take you to the checkered flag. This is far from over. We've got just a handful of minutes to go. Stay with us. Back to take you to the checkered flag, and we can tell you that Max Angelelli has opened up around about a 3.5 second lead on Scott Pruitt. But this battle for third, the final step on the podium, has been thrilling. While we're away in the commercial break, Jimmy Morales and this guy here, Kelly Collins in the RX.com Doran, they were weaving in and out of the slower cars. They were splitting them either side. They were side by side, so the Ferrari in the middle, and Kelly Collins won that battle, but Morales is not done with yet.
Jimmy Morales actually had the Ganassi car in front by about a fender, but it got right up here to the hairpins. 3 wide, Ferrari stuck in the middle. And I tell you what, Kelly Collins did a masterful job. Watch, we'll have a replay of it. It was just fantastic driving all 3 cars, all 3 drivers. Here they come. Morales to the outside, gets by. You see him cleanly. Now 35 Ferrari in the way. Watch, Collins up the inside. They're going toward the brake zone. There's hardly room for 2. There's 3 now. And he makes it stick. But it's not over. You're right. Morales is not giving up. Look, here they come. Here they come again.
Jimmy is back on the program. He's there. He's right there. If he can get by Kelly Collins, that would mean both Comp USA Ganassi cars would be on the podium. A little further back, Bert Frizzell has made tremendous progress. He's now moved up into 6th, ahead of Haywood, the Praskowskis, and Doug Go. So the Michael Shank car is finishing strong. right behind Butch Leitzinger.
Only the second time in the race car for Jimmy Morales. He was so impressed at Homestead, then a small mistake put him out of contention. They say it won't happen again. I believe they won't. I believe they're going to be a contender all year long. But can he get by Kelly Collins? Kelly's not going to let him, I guarantee you that.
Jimmy's had a very diversified career from motorcycle racing to open wheel racing in Mexico, and also plenty of stock car racing, as also sedans type racing also. He's used to big car power and big car racing, and he and his younger teammate Luis Diaz in the all-Mexican effort have been impressive so far.
That BMW power plant again has a lot of torque. It's a really nice package. We haven't talked much about the BMW engine. It's good, it's reliable, it's not under a lot of stress. Oh, he gets loose. Collins gets a big tank slapper wiggle up there. That might change things.
In the SGS class, the battle is raging. There's less than 1 second between Dave Murray and Randy Post. Remember earlier, Dave Murray came into the pits. They put fresh tyres on that car. They realised that Randy Post had fresher tyres than them. They came in there on the end of the lead lap. They did that. It helped them. And they whipped on through the traffic. Andy Lally ran out of tyres, I would say. He's dropped to third in the SGS class. So it's a battle between the TPC Porsche and the Arsco Porsche. Dave Murray, Craig Stanton trying for back-to-back wins. Meanwhile, this is our overall race leader, and he's on his final lap. 1.5 miles to go before the SunTrust team, Dave Peugeot and the guys, and the team principal, Wayne Taylor, will celebrate in style.
In the meantime, that lap, Kelly Collins was the very fastest car. Now working lap traffic right now. Angelelli's got the perfect car for this situation. I said to Wayne Taylor at the beginning of this week, I think this one's yours, mate. I think this is the right deal for your car. And it has shown to be.
Well, we haven't seen too many crazy antics from Max Angelelli. There was a little bit earlier in the race involving traffic, but Taylor and Angelelli have run a perfect race tonight. We may have had the same car on pole in all 3 races this year, but we will have 3 different race winners. It was Barber, Borchoa, Andy Pilgrim and Christian Fittipaldi winning the Rolex 24. It was Andy Wallace and Milcaduno at Homestead. Now our 3rd different winner in as many races. It's Wayne Taylor, Max Angelelli win in Phoenix. Sensational stuff for the SunTrust team. Taylor can't believe it. And they celebrate, and rightly so. Tremendous effort from those boys. Meanwhile, in the SGS class, Dave Murray taking the fight to Randy Post, and I think they've run out of time. That's Randy up ahead. Murray really forcing the issue.
So close, just not enough time. But a good game plan, a really good game face this time. This Arsco Porsche, really good job.
And Randy Post celebrates with the hand out the window. In GT land, it was Boris Said and Bill Orville, and they got their 2nd consecutive class victory ahead of Kyle Petty and Gunnar Jeanette. Here's our GT class winning car.
And they were the only car by class that had a pretty easy going, but everybody else has had to fight tooth and nail. Boris and Bill dominant once again. 21, tough machine.
Then the sister car, Justin Marks, Joey Hand went out early, but here's your victor, Max Angelelli. Awesome effort. Let's hear from the team boss.
Wayne, you took 18 months off. Since then, you guys have been the fastest car in every race. You finally get the breakthrough win here today.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You know, this program came together so late. And 3rd race in, and we won the race. I know we always knew we had a good car and stuff, but you know what it's like in these races. But we just, the guys, the team, SunTrust made this all happen for us. The Riley team, CRD engines, Pontiac engines. This is a relief, I gotta tell you. I mean, 18 months of not driving and then coming back. The last time I think I won, this team won was with me back in '96. So I think just for everybody, it's a big, big relief, you know.
Well, big breakthrough win for the SunTrust team, and that's 3 in a row for Pontiac.
Wayne Taylor's won events like the Rolex 24, the Le Mans 24, and you can just see how emotional he is. There is Angelelli. We saw him win recently in the Speedwell Challenge. Now he wins in the Rolex Sports Car Series as well. It was only a matter of time.
Yeah, he did it all classy, too. I mean, the whole way that was the car. I said, so it might not qualify on the pole, but that has been a stout car all week long.
Go ahead and pull us out.
The winning margin was less than 3 seconds over Scott Pruitt, and Kelly Collins did hang on in the RX.com. Doran, the BMW power plant, for their 2nd consecutive podium. Court Wagner, Kelly Collins, a fine effort from those guys also.
I tell you, you don't get any better road racing than this. I mean, every race this year, just like this one, right down to the wire.
Let's have a look at the final results for the Daytona prototype class. Taylor and Angelelli over Pruitt and Pappas. They finally get a much-deserved podium. And Wagner and Collins, they are championship contenders. Morales, a great drive late, and Diaz did the work early. And Butch Leitzinger and Elliott Forbes-Robinson finish in the top 5.
And Prokowski there did a great job in 6th place. That was a fantastic job for them.
Justin and Joe, an awesome effort. Bert Frizzell and Ozzie Negri came back. But let's hear from the race winner.
They'll be looking for champagne, but right now they're just trying to cool this guy down. He was hot tonight, Max Angelelli. What a drive you put together, Nick. Qualifying speed for over an hour there.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed. This car is just is running by herself. I mean, it's really is. That was good. Little bit hot, but fine. I enjoy. Really enjoy.
We heard that something possibly broke on the car on the last lap. Is everything good?
Yeah, that was a joke. to make things a little bit more exciting.
Certainly got the Ganassi boys' attention. Congratulations, Matt. Great job tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
From DP to GT, and again, it was Bill Auble and Boris said, well done, boys. The PTG guys getting their 2nd consecutive win. Kyle Petty enjoying a podium finish with Gunnar Jeanette, and Ian James, RJ Valentine, and Chris Gleason. They'll be championship contenders there. Let's hear from Bill Auble.
Well, Bill Oliver and Boris said, great job, 2 for 2, guys, but are you ready for 6 hours at Mont Tremblant coming up next?
Hey, PTG guys are ready for anything. After Daytona, they got it. We got it all together. Thing is awesome. It's so much fun to drive. Boris Bart at home did a great job. I got my pit bull, my new energy drink.
Nothing but like gives you confidence like the checkered flag, Lee.
Yeah, great job by those guys. Tom Milner and PTG will be pleased with that. Let's review the SGS results. This was a thrilling battle here, and the TPC boys have done it again.
Yeah, they have. Levitas and Popes do a great job. Every class, so you got to fight here. This is no wimpy game around this place.
3 classes and 3 incredible fights. We congratulate all of our competitors. We started with 40 cars, and it was certainly a very exciting race. We move north now to the 6 hours of Mont Tremblant, the beautiful setting there, and that should be a thriller as well. On behalf of the entire Speed team, thanks for joining us for the Rolex Sports Car Series. We'll see you from Canada next.